And hello, Shady. Let's go ahead and type that into the chat. Hello, Shady. Oh, it's misspelled. Shady. And enter. There you go. You guys can see how much of a delay there is between me and everybody else. Hey, Shock Roman's here too, right on. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Hi, all three of you. Hi, my name's Odin. You probably knew that, but anyway, hello. My name's Odin. Welcome to the Odin Makes Sunday live stream. Today, I'm going to babble on about nothing important because I don't have anything planned at all. I think one of the things I want to do today is actually finish up some of the little details I had left on the Proton Packs that I hadn't yet finished. This is pretty much some of the little tips, pointy tips of the screws are still sticking through the motherboard. Those need to be ground down. There's bits and pieces that need to be repainted with creature cast to help cover up some of the last of the wood and some of the bits that are ground down. Want to redo that. And the packs have now been to 2 or 3 shows, and they're showing that they have been transported. And so there's bits and pieces that need to be re-glued back together. Some of the tubes have come loose. What a shock! I'm sure it's pretty standard for packs to need a little bit of repairs now and again. And these being foam packs will probably need a little more repair than typical. So I'm not too upset about that. But I do know there's still a few things I want to do to them that we haven't done. The sound, right, would be good to get in there, which we just haven't bought the thing to do that. And the main thing I really want to do is I still would really like to get the hose that comes out the side to be disconnected. Some of the damage that I've seen with the packs has come from the fact that the Neutrona ones are still attached. Come here, pack. Yeah. And I also need to get, need to get a waist belt that'll fit around me. Yeah, like right here. This guy came loose. She just kind of goes up here. Right? Or does he go over? Does he go under? He goes there, doesn't it? I didn't lose more than one, I hope. Anyway. Okay, there's that part. Yeah, tell me things need to be repaired. It fits in the bin just fine, right? These fit a 27-gallon tote or bin just perfect. Almost like they're made for it. But the wands don't. The wands fit, and they end up fitting kind of to the side a little bit. I think I put them on this side usually, which is why these tubes have broken. I don't want to do that long term. What I like to do is make this portion of the tube disconnect in some way. And also I like to make this be a little more flexible. So what I'd like to do is get a small bit of rubber hose that's got an accordion look to it, like a scuba hose. I've seen some. I haven't gone out of my way to purchase any yet, so this isn't something I can do today. And I'd like to make that a quick disconnect. And if it's a disconnect with like XLR cable, then which I don't need to do, but XLR cable is a microphone style cable. Usually it's a 3-pin. You can get them 4 and 5-pin. I think I've got some spare 3-pins that were broken that I can just use. Not the ones that Dan made, but ones that were broken that I can't, because Dan recently made some XLR cables and gave them to me, and I'm not about to cannibalize those things that Dan made. He made some nice little 6-foot XLR audio cables. I don't want to cut those up for this. I'd rather use those as audio cables. But I did get some that Sac Anime threw away because audio cables wear out. They get bent, they get abused, they get pulled, they get tripped on. If you don't wrap them up right and then pull them wrong, you can break the cables inside somewhere along the 25-foot length. So cables expire. But the mechanical click of the ends will still work. And XLR, it's got like 3 holes on one side, something like that, and 3 pins on the other side, and so they actually connect together, and they have a little physical click, and there's a little button you have to disc click. So using that as a connector for the hose, I think will work really well and easy, and be a nice, just easy thing to click. And I could have the rubber part of the thing be permanent to this with the XLR adapter in it, so it's just a little pigtail that wiggles around. And then the other end of the corrugated tube is still about the right size to fit an XLR in, so I can just use that to click it together. And then the hose can come off, the wand can come off easy, because right now the only way I take the wands off is actually unscrewing the battery cover. Again, not a big deal, right? That is an easy enough thing to put. That's easier to put together than Mechagodzilla. So it's an easy enough thing to put together for when I want to wear the pack. But I want things to be a little more separate, right? So I kind of want that because I liked it. So anyway, so I need to do some repairs on these guys. So I need to repair things because the wands, I want to make something that lets the wands be able to be stored separate from the packs. The packs are separate and safe in one bin. And if I had a tin they'd fit in, that might be kind of cool. It'd be heavy. So they all fit in one bin, and then I can put the wands in another bin, and everything can travel and be happier and safer. So short term today, I was thinking about doing some touch up on these guys because they already showing it. Getting some of the tubes re-glued and getting some of, like, I think you can see these light spots here. This one, the screw heads that came through, yeah, primitive screw heads, the screw heads that came through, or the screw tips, the points. I managed to grind these off, and then there's a whole bunch along the back. Just so they're not pokey and they don't hurt your finger, right? But I need to recolor those, and I need to do that to the other pack. So I want to grind, I want to do some painting, and I want to do some tube fixing. And really that's all I was kind of planning on doing for the Proton Packs, because there's not I need to do stuff, but now let me just make a whole bunch of noises that don't really mean anything to anyone. I have an issue with the packs as well, in that I am too big to fit the waist belt that the packs have currently. This doesn't mean that I'm too big long term. Obviously I can lose weight. That just takes some effort, and not going to happen before the next show. But not enough weight anyway, even if I tried really hard. But I would like to... Dave was over, and we were playing with some Dave. Hey, Dave! Let me just name drop you. Joker's Wild Cosplay. He was over, and we were playing with parts with Stompy and trying to figure stuff out. And playing with some of the belts that I had, and I know I've got a couple of other straps. So it's possible to still get straps that would work. Even though they are a completely different type of strap. I don't think that really matters a whole lot, right? This is the Alice strap. This is just whatever military grade strap this was. These all came from the same surplus store when I purchased them. I like the way this one worked because it's got a slightly different buckle instead of what we're all used to at this point with this parachute clip thing, right? That this Alice pack has. This one's, it's a bit different. It you lift the thing. I can see how this would wear out faster. So it's got two pieces of plastic here. Can you, I don't know if you can see that. I probably need to do something a bit closer. Let's zoom in on a camera. All right, nope, missed it. Okay. So I've got the female part of the clip, right? And I've got the male part of the clip. And basically they just, I don't even know what this type is called. They slide into each other. There's a guide on the back, so some reflection, so it's not totally dark. So this part has these little rails, right? So it's able to slide in and be guided in that way. And then it's got this cheese wedge that allows it to click together. And it's, fairly secure. And then you just have to lift this with your finger and it can come out. I can see how this buckle with this much of a lip thingy on it, this would break a lot faster than this style of buckle. I know I'm only showing one half, but I suspect that most of you have seen this style of buckle. Which, trying to grab the other end without knocking the pack over, which is not going to come over that far because I've got it all tangled up. This is the best stuff to have happen while you're stuck on a close-up. Right, because it's that end of the clip, right? So it's one of these things. And then you squeeze and do that. Now, this also breaks, but with the way this is connected together, and you're moving around, nothing here is really going to snag, right? You turn around quickly. nothing's going to catch this belt. I can see with this guy connected, and you turn around and you can grab something with this and cause it to pop open unintentionally or just break the lever off. But whatever, I thought they were kind of cool because it's not something I'm used to seeing, and they were still part of. I'm trying to see if there's any markings on them, and there's not. I've got a pair. It's got something there. Looks like it's just wear. But I did pick up a pair of these from the Army Navy store because I thought they were cool. And I don't have a use for them. Wrong camera. I don't have a use for them. But let me just hit the buttons a lot. Yeah, so they've got that. So I could use this as an extension. They literally make extensions for this, which I just haven't picked up yet. And as I sit here and start just talking about, oh, I gotta make this, oh, I gotta make that. Well, no, I can just go buy. They make like a 6-inch or 8-inch extension for these for the Alice packs, FastX SR2. As long as I get, you know, similar connection to that, everything will fit together without having to modify the pack, because as is, the pack fits Felicia. And we're still not necessarily making, this is my pack, this is your pack. I mean, we probably should, but I like the fact that we didn't. Just put that back over there. It went in the box I wanted it to. What's going on in chat? Stevie says, we have sound! Yay! I'm glad I didn't ramble through all that without having any sound. I broke my slicer. What? What? All right, so just a couple minutes ago, I had walked inside, and Shock Roman's working away on the slicer, getting things put together to make the torture chamber that my Christmas present's going to go into. Broke my slicer? Okay. Dan, I do agree. The perfect storage for any Proton Pack is a 59 Cadillac ambulance. It absolutely is. Will Connors is here. Hello. Do what you want to do with him, says Dan. He doesn't care what I do. Thanks. Hello, Marble Guy. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone. And I need to, put 9-volt batteries back into this thing so it lights up again, because it can't light up right now. And then once we go public, wouldn't that be a public offering for Odin Makes? That'd be interesting. That'd probably suck because of the shareholders. But anyway, I got a question from Louis Causey about batteries, so I'll probably try and go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Don't know how long I can actually drag that one out, but talking about batteries and battery packs in general, which also works out because that became something that Aria 51, Joker's Wild Cosplay, and I were talking about yesterday, working on Stompy's pack. Okay, so I need to fix the Proton Packs. There's this one, and this one. They kind of look here. Let me get buried behind Proton Packs. They kind of look the same. There's not a whole lot of difference between the two of them. There is difference, not a whole lot. So I was talking about I need to, in order to remove the wand from the pack currently, I have to take the battery cover off. So this is still the HasLab wand, and this is the one that I actually had to modify, which is cool. So in order to take the battery cover off, it's got a little screw that locks it in, which is kind of cool. Meaning that on the battery, so the battery cover just twists off, but it has a little Phillips screw that holds it in place. So just take that off. Come on. You screw a lot of things up, Odin. How come you can't unscrew this? There we go. Okay. So once the screw's free, then you can just literally undo the battery cover. So, and the batteries fall out, of course, because the battery cover's off, but whatever. So easy enough, right? It's not that complicated as an assembly step to put the pack together when you want to use it. So I don't mind that. It is a little weird having the batteries loose because I don't have a I've only got one blank pack. I've only got one blank pack left over still, cover that because the surplus ones we got didn't come with all the parts, but they were surplus or discount, and I'm not upset with that. Okay. So stuff. What are you doing, Odin? Right, that tube's the tube. Okay, it looks like that tube. It looks like it's. I don't number them. I don't know which one's which is bad. If you're actually going to do this for real, you totally want to number them. Oh wow! There was a point in time when they got exposed to a little bit of moisture. I remember it was raining or something. Anyway, the bolts, the real bolts that we use, the black steel bolts to hold the ribbon cable on here, has rusted, like full on rusted. So those are okay. That one's starting. Yeah, these totally rusted too. But except for the little spot where I hit it with some rub and buff to make it look like it's weathered. That's not rusted. Oh, that's kind of awesome. I mean, it's kind of not, but it's kind of awesome. That's really cool. Okay. So now I can see why things failed, because I'm trying to glue these vinyl tubes with super glue onto wee little bits of wire, and honestly, vinyl and super glue don't get along that well. So, you know, big shock, they the super glue let go. Cool, real weathering. Yep. Oh, is that what it was? Having to print all the screws, having to print all the individual threaded screws, caused the bamboo slicer to crash. Okay, well this glue is not going to behave. I've got a million of these things. There we go. Oh, that one. Isn't it great fun when the super glue lids seal themselves shut? I mean, it's probably good that they do that as opposed to, you know, just totally dry out and become completely worthless, but still. Come on. I'm picking off the side, which I don't need to pick off. I just need an opening so glue can come out. And I'm bending the tip of my probe as I'm trying to break the glue off the end of the glue. I suppose that's a, considering how well this thing's bonded, I suppose that's a really good testament to this particular glue. Oh, yeah. Now I'm breaking the bottle in a way I don't want to break it. Yeah, I've got boxes behind me that still have brand new bottles of this stuff. Trying to not open up every bottle I have to begin with. You know, Amazon sells them as a 2-pack, so I've gotten extras that both me and Jerry have ordered. But probably, if I could just order more of the tips, that would be really nice. Come on. Well, that's created a pathway. That's really all I needed. Thank you everyone for watching Odin struggle with a bottle of glue. I'll be here all week. Okay. So all I had done before, I've got my corrugated tubing. This isn't split loom tubing because it's not split, although most of these were originally split loom. Let me just lay that aside and let it leak. And then I've got a bit of the red pneumatic tubing that had purchased for doing other parts in the pack, and I was still pretty upset with the low quality of red. Because this is not, I would label that, you know, a different color. Shady, would you call that red? Red's one of Shady's favorite colors. So let me just overly glue without dripping on the pack itself. Let me overly glue the connector, mashing the connector on. Couldn't you just do this at a con, Odin? It's like, you know, cosplay repair people. Well, yeah, and I have, but this particular one keeps giving me problems. Really, that's all there is to that, I think. Is there anything else I needed to glue? Just am I gonna be done with this stuff in like 15 minutes? God, I hope not. Yeah, probably, but all right. And then this one's got all the bits on it ground down that I want to have grind down. And it's also getting dents from the wand sitting. There's dents in the foam corner here where the wand sits on it. Another reason. First thing I really thought about when, not only when I was loading it up, but it's like, I don't know if I want to do this long term because I'm going to just wreck the packs. Okay. Y'all ready for some of the best ASMR ever? I'm going to break out my, I bent the tip of my pokey thing. I hate when you bend the tip. Okay. This set up a slightly different way. Checking comments, and then I'm going to need to cool, real weathering. Yep. Marble Guy's got a question that I will kind of get to. Because, yeah, I do. Marble Guy's asking about battery packs, and he's trying to apply the idea of battery packs to the Proton Packs, which I was going to talk about battery packs. I'm just waiting for noon because that's my official time to go live for everyone else in the public. That's when Lewis gets to see it. And so I'm kind of waiting for him because he was the one that sent me a question directly because he's helped me out a lot with this build, and with he's the one that went out of his way to find the wands when I was just disconnecting. So I was waiting for him to be able to get on, but so Marvel Guy, I will get around to answering your question with battery packs, and yeah, I actually have interest in upgrading the Proton Pack to run off of something rechargeable instead of the 9-volt battery, but I'm not there yet. So get some of those. This guy, I'm going to go ahead and use the this rotary tool. How good's the battery? Good enough. It's got 3 bars. It will tear up the wheel, so I'm going to use My hire is already torn up from working with Dave stuff. Yeah, I don't want to chew up the stones. This is what I did last time. I'm going to use this tool to grind the pokey bits off of the screw heads that are poking through on the pack. And is there any way to show you those right now? I don't think so. Let's see. I can probably shoot this guy. Come on. There it is, finally. Okay. So, cut. Well, that was really a lot harder than it should have been. What I have in the packs, because this is where the hinge is, right? You can actually kind of see the black hinge right here. That's how the packs open up. And by putting these hinges in place, we have these. These are like tiny little 4mm screws, or whatever, 5. These are tiny little screws, but still, I guess they're more than 4mm. They're going through the plywood that's the motherboard, and the tips are poking out, and it's actually happening on the back as well. So this is what I want to work on grinding down, because I have grabbed these already at the cons, and I'm done leaking for the packs. I mean, it's not that, you know, bleeding for my cosplay isn't worth it or something. I'm just kind of done. So plus the big thing I'm worried about is having someone else who just came by to check them out, or somebody who wanted to, you know, I don't want to hurt somebody who doesn't deserve it. I don't want to hurt anybody who doesn't deserve it. Going back to comments, Steve D's got a good question. Can I run it off 2 of the mini Ryobi batteries in series? No. Well, maybe. This is the weird thing. Okay, no. If I'm doing a direct battery replacement, I can't, because the mini Ryobi batteries are 3 volt or 4 volt, aren't they? They are 4 volt. So the mini Ryobi batteries are 4 volt. So that's these guys here, these little guys right here on the side. I don't know if you can see it, but these are only a 4 volt, 2 amp. This one's a 2 amp battery. They actually have 3 amp batteries as well. So if I put these in the series, it would be 8 volt. So technically, I guess actually yes. 2 of these in series should be able to give me 8 volts, and that should be enough to run the lights, because right now it's running off a 9 volt battery, but I'm pretty sure the input for that power, let's just investigate this. Do I still have the instructions, or is this only, yeah, here, I do have instructions. I've got documentation. Okay, what is the input voltage? 8 to 12 volt. You can use the 9 volt battery not included. So DC 8 volt. So yeah, 2 of these should provide 8 volt, which will be just barely enough to be able to run it up to 12 volt. All right. Well, that's something to think about, isn't it? I like that. I don't have a problem with that, because I like the idea of something like this. And these are much lighter than, say, using one of these batteries, because this will, yeah, it weighs more, right? However, I have another option that I'm not against doing that is just as direct and easy to use, since the electronic board can handle 8 to 12 volt natively. I've also got, the M12 batteries from Milwaukee. I'm on the right camera, right? Good, I can't see my screen because of the backpack. So the Milwaukee batteries, they're the M12s. These are just 12 volt directly, right? This is what I use for the Leviathan axe and a couple of other things that I can't remember right now. But these output 12 volt for 10 watt hours. But that's not what I wanted. This isn't telling me. Yeah, I'd have to use Ohm's law, which I'm not familiar with. It doesn't tell me how many amps this will do. Funny. So the Ryobi one gave me amp hours, and this one gives me watt hours. Oh, it says 16 watt hours. Sorry, that was a little fuzzy on me. This is 7.2 watt hours. Okay, so this is 12 volt and almost twice the runtime. So honestly, I have more of these. I've still got the 12 volt batteries. I've got 4 or 5 of these M12s. I would rather use this to power the pack than the Ryobi batteries. No offense, Ryobi, because I guess. Okay, Shop Grumman, if I was to run these in series to make them be 8 volt, because we got 2 of them stacked on top of each other, would that also effectively stack the calibrated watt hours? Would that make these, 14.2 watt hours as opposed to this just being natively 16 watt hours? I'm still thinking I'd rather just use this because it's one and done versus needing to charge 4 or 2 to, I need to charge 2 of these for one pack versus 1 of these for one pack. Anyway, I think this is probably the right answer. Thank you, Steve D, for asking, can't you just run off these? Because you made me think about these. I wouldn't have. That's kind of cool. So yeah, this is probably the long-term solution for how I want to run the packs. And these are also fairly lightweight. It's still going to be heavier than 2 of these because, quite frankly, there's probably effectively 3 of these in here. But whatever. So, I got 10 minutes. Watch your ears, kids. Let's play with let's ruin a sanding drum and take some tips off of screws. That's not what I wanted. Hit it with a chuck too. You see how it's totally stripped one side, and there's still grit on the other. It's because it's bouncing as I'm using it, right? So this side has not been hit at all, but it's still grabbing it a little bit, and this is just ruined. But for right now, before I ruin another one, let's just extend the tip out a little bit. The bit out a little bit. Because I'm catching... I'm on camera, right? I can't see it at all. Yeah. I'm catching the edges of this as it spins, which is causing a little bit of damage here and here. And do I care? No, I really don't, because I'm not that stressed about it. But at the same time, if I can do something as simple as move the bit out a little bit and I can avoid this, why shouldn't I do that? And... Now, an artist, right, an actual artisan, someone who cared, would come back through with a small bit of putty and fill in these divots. Because you can see where this plywood is. You see where the plywood is and where the plywood is up here. All that, where's the brush? All that is actually a divot in the surface. I've been aggressive enough with the little sanding drum to wear away at the motherboard to make, right? But... I'll be honest, I don't really care. That's not a concern. That's not something that I'm so concerned about that would cause. Yeah, I'm not concerned. I don't know how else to put it. So I'm not going to bother to fix it. That one's. I am also seeing that the emery board portion, the emery cloth portion of the sanding drum is getting down to the rubber barrel that holds it in place. So I want to change it before I completely destroy the part that you keep. The sanding drum, those wear out, you throw them away. Big deal. But the part that it mounts to, you're supposed to use again. And I'd like to use it again. So I just need to find a replacement. Okay, let's go over here. Let's open this up. The switcher, fill source. Can it just be preview? No, it has to be one of the damn cameras. Okay. There we are with that. We can go back to media. We can go back to that. Nice. Dan Does Junk says, for something that would require lots of electronic bits, I would run a LiPo battery system with a step down. That was his original plan for doing with Death Scythe. Yeah, no, that's great. I don't have the components to do it. So if I was coming at this without owning any batteries at all, and I needed a battery system, and I needed a charging system, totally could look at what was more cost effective for me, what was easier to get a hold of. And honestly, easier to get a hold of is a big part of it for me. I can go to Home Depot and get more batteries. I can just walk into Home Depot and get more batteries. Or Lowe's, or no, Home Depot, because the brand names I'm using, I have to go to Depot. It is, of course, just as easy to order batteries online and have them shipped to your house if you're planning ahead. So whatever works for you guys. All right. Cut and do that now. There we go. So now what I'm trying to do is I've got the, where is it? It's way over here. I started tearing at the bit, right? Because here's the emery. Here's the emery board, and I've worn it down to the fabric layer. I've worn it down to the fiber layer. This side actually still has grit, but it's worthless because I just tore this by hand. But this was wearing down to the point, here, it's something smaller than my finger. This was wearing down to the point that is ruining the drum. So what I need to do is, if I can hold it, I can hold on to it, good. So with these, you undo the screw at the top. You don't have to take it off, but I did. And that usually reduces the tension on the rubber drum, so it will come out of the emery cylinder, emery board cylinder. Then that still looks pretty good. I did not tear this up very much. I got a little bit of scarring at one of the ends. That's not bad. I've torn these up completely. These are also replaceable, but you know, I try to keep them as nice as long as I can because I want to use them. So I'll put a more aggressive grit on it this time. Come on. Yeah, sometimes they're not easy to put on. There we go. Then I've got my mandrel, which has a washer. So the washer fits on one side of the rubber drum. And then I have another washer that goes on the other side, on the top. And then the screw stuck to the end of the screwdriver here. Nice magnetic screwdriver. That is going to screw into the mandrel that I'm holding in my hand. And what it does ultimately is it squeezes the rubber drum together, which, as it's being squeezed, causes the sides to swell out, and it grips the drum and keeps it from spinning and holds it in place. And this whole system actually works really, really well. This has been around for a while, this concept. So I'm holding the brake, which keeps this from spinning, right? So there's, oh, that's perfectly on perfect straight too. Well, the mandrel's straight, just the drum is on crooked, but whatever. It'll frickin' live. So I'll hold the brake, and that keeps that from spinning, which lets me tighten the screw up and really get a good grip on that. Okay, put these back on. Don't turn it on when it's close to your hair. Then I don't remember how many of these I managed to do in the other one, because do you guys remember, did I take the Alice, I probably should just take the damn Alice frame off. It's not like it's hard. Is it? A little more involved than I want it to be. Okay. Realize it's noon. There we go. Okay. Spiroband. Steve D's got pulling out something good that's related to what we're talking about, but I'm not close enough to remember. Okay, so there's only one I can't get to. Hello and welcome to Why is Odin Deaf? So there's only one of these screw tips I can't get to with the bit right now, and that's buried right behind the Alice pack, right in here. So that one I didn't get. But all the other tips, all the other points of the screws that are holding the piano hinge to the motherboards have been removed, finally. So now I can paint this creature cast. But first, hey everyone! Hi, how's it going? It's noon. Welcome to the work in progress for Odin Makes live stream. Hello, my name's Odin. Felicia is not here today. She was not able to make it today. Today I was just doing a couple of last minute things, a couple of repairs, getting these done to the motherboards of the packs, things that I wanted to do that I haven't for a while, and I've been talking with my Patreon members for a little while. So for those of you who are watching in the future and been watching all along, when I'm doing this live, the first 45 minutes or so of the live stream is done as a members only. Thank you to all my Patreon members, a way of letting them get in early, get to be able to talk to me a little more one-on-one, because I see the chat's moving a lot more now. I'm not gonna be able to keep up with it. Yeah, I was just having fun doing some of the last little maintenance things, and that was something I've been needing to do, because this has gone to four cons now, with the pointy screw bits poking through the motherboards, and I have grabbed them accidentally, taking them in and out of the case or off of a rack, and I don't need someone else at a con making their fingers bleed because they touched something that I made. That's not a good plan. It's something I wanted to avoid. And then the other thing that I was going to talk about, as much as I could today, I got a great question from Louis Causey, who may or may not be here yet. Ralph's here, that's cool. Bryce New is here, festive. Louis Causey is here. Came in on grinding, nice scare. Yeah, I knew it was going to pop right in on grinding, Louis. Sorry about that. Festive. Louis had a great question about batteries. So let's go down the battery rabbit hole a little bit with as much as I know. So this morning, Louis asked, by the way, everyone, hello. Louis Causey's been helping out a lot with information for the Proton Packs. Bryce New has as well, and I greatly appreciate that both of you guys are here today. Louis happened to message me and ask me a question about batteries in general, because he got a hold of a Icy Breeze cooler. This is something that I'm not familiar with. He sent me a picture for it. This was from the same discount place that had the wands. So when Louis picked up the wands for me, all these now has these Icy Breeze coolers that are a...
This thing, it looks like an ordinary hiking stick.
That's great.
USA,
this is ads. This is not what I want.
It is hotter than a $2.
Yeah, all I wanted to do... Yeah, that's fantastic. You had pictures, and I thought I was going to see a picture, and instead I get... There we are, a picture. So you got these rolling tote style Icy Breeze with heavy duty latches. This is a battery operated cooler, right? And these things were apparently fairly expensive. I guess the company has been purchased. This is news to me from Louis. And so all these has got the old stock blowing out with all the old logos on it. So they're like $80 at all these right now for this cooler that comes with batteries. But not only that, the one that Louis got came with multiple batteries. I have no idea what these batteries look like, but they are a rechargeable battery. And so what he was asking me, as I fumble with my phone, which, totally makes sense. He had a question about the power batteries that operate tools like drills that click into the handles. Is there a product made that one can slide onto a battery connector that has ports for different USBs, and or maybe two-prong plugs to run things like animatronics? Okay, this is a good question because we do this. He saw at Spirit Halloween that they have connector for animatronics that takes 4 D-cell batteries. But he was thinking slide-on adapters for all the different tool handle batteries would be a better idea for a dual purpose. And if there is, what is it called? And then if there isn't, have I seen any DIY for this idea? Is there something I might create a video on? Yes to everything, Lewis. Just started answering things. Yeah, okay, he's telling me the coolers are $500 originally. Ollie's has them right now for $80. So if you've got an Ollie's discount near you, I don't, because they're only at the Rockies and East, and I'm very west of the Rocky Mountains. Just the extra batteries alone are worth $80, and they are. The one that Lewis had came with like 4 or 5 batteries instead of 1, which is fantastic. So for $80, you get a bunch of rechargeable batteries. That's great. A good deal at Home Depot for the Ryobi style batteries is $99 for 2 of them, right? So he got a cooler that he can use as well as all these other batteries. So he's asking about a slide-on adapter. And then he's also asking about DIY. So let's play with slide-on adapters first. Yes, there's only two tool brands that I own. So there's only 2 that I can talk to directly that I know has USB adapters for the batteries. And I'm pretty sure DeWalt does as well, because I think Dan's got a lot of DeWalt tools. I believe Dan has brought a DeWalt adapter to a con before. So yeah, it is absolutely just a connector that slides over the battery pack. They're literally a USB adapter. So here's the, that's the current Ryobi one. They've actually upgraded it recently to where it has 2 USB outputs, so it can charge 2 things at once. Who knew? What a shock! So this little thing that fits over it, I think it's like, $30 at Home Depot, probably from HomeDepot.com. I doubt you can walk in and buy it. This little guy is going to take your 18 volt and then turn it into 2 different 5 volt USB outputs. The top one has got like 21 watt or whatever. The bottom one, or something like that. I think it's 2.1 amp for the top. So it's a high capacity charge, and then 1 amp for the bottom for your older electronics that need a lower amperage charging. I don't own one of those yet, but so they do just make that as a direct USB plug-in. Not necessarily what Lewis was asking for, but it is very easy to adapt a USB plug to LEDs or something else. You have an old USB cable that still has the A side and then has the whatever dead electronics that nobody makes anymore side. You can cut that off, and almost always, with all the ones that I've ever doctored like this, and I want to say, it's all the ones I've ever seen, because this isn't going to be universal. Inside, you're going to have usually 4 cables. Sometimes there's only 2, because if the USB cable is only ever made for power, you're only going to have 2 wires inside. If it was made to do power and data, it's going to have 4. And the power ones are almost always the black and the red. And the other ones are going to be blue and something else, white, whatever. But it's pretty easy to figure out if you've got a multimeter that the red one has almost always been the positive, the black one has almost always been the negative, and you just, all I literally do is solder those 2 to the ends of my 5 volt LED strips, and that's it. That's literally how I power. If I'm going to have something that plugs in, like I've got the Tony Stark nano, what's Tony Stark's power source thing he's got? Anyway, his glowing heart thing. Brain. I had a brain once. I packed it away to keep it safe. I don't use it anymore. But anyway, I literally have wire leads that are coming off of the one that I made that go to an old USB-A plug, and it's just direct to the USB-A plug, and then I can take that and just plug it into a power bank, right? So if you only need 5 volt, if that's easy, then the most basic of power banks is gonna do fine for you. This is one I actually way overpaid for at an airport because I needed one. So it's got a flip down charger. It does 5 volt, 2.4 amp, and it's got 2 outputs. So I'll just plug Tony Stark's heart into one of these, and it runs for multiple days at a con. This is more than enough power to run the few LEDs that I have for that particular prop. Thank you, hair. Alternatively, also, I've gotten one, pink was on discount, so I bought pinks. Don't care. But same thing. Here's another one. This, to me, obviously, has a pair of 18650 batteries in it. It's made with a lightning cable to be able to power your Mac devices, your Apple devices. It's still a Mac to me, whatever, Macintosh. But then it also has a USB-C port. So this will, you can plug in any kind of USB-C into this, and it still is going to put out 5 volt to be able to charge your phone or your props or whatever else. So this also works. And then this same port, because USB-C is usually a smart port, also how you charge it. So, you can check it with a battery. It's got a full charge, but I can just plug this into my phone charger and just charge my my battery pack up. Got in the habit of putting my stickers on everything so I remember what's mine versus what belongs to work or what belongs to somebody else at a con. So that totally works, as well as I've gotten these with the fan blowers that I use for the inflatable Among Us costumes. This particular guy is it's just a battery pack that holds 4 AA batteries, and then you could clip that onto your belt. It's got a USB-A output and an on-off switch. So all it does is it takes all the AA's, which are only 1.5 volt each. So once these are all put together, this is 6 volt. It's got a bit of a resistor or something, so it spits out 5 volt. And this ran the fan for the inflatable costume that I bought. It's a replacement, fan. But it would also, without needing something that recharges, this would also work for anything that's going to take a 5 volt. This would be a phone charger. This could run my my LEDs. That would work just fine. And I'm picturing, with Lewis's question, something that Spirit had. They had something similar to this, but it was bigger, that held D cells, which coincidentally are the same voltage as the AA's. I can read it inside, that's why I keep opening it. So the AA's are 1.5 volt. The D cells are also 1.5 volt. They just run longer. So AAA in the United States, AAA batteries, AA batteries, too many Odins. AAA batteries, AA batteries, I think 4A batteries, as well as C and D batteries, they're all 1.5 volt each. That's all the batteries put out. The different size is just how long the battery lasts in your electronics, right? There's more storage capacity with the chemical makeup that's inside the cell of the battery itself, so it runs longer in the electronics you put it in. So flashlights can last longer. Also, it depends on the draw. Like, some of them need to actually draw, even though it only needs a certain amount of voltage, it needs more, whatever the hell all that fancy electronic talk is that I'm going to say wrong. Amps and watts and things like that. Ohm's law and stuff that I don't understand and never did. But that's the Ryobi one. That's not all there is, right? Like I said, I know, because Dan has brought a DeWalt one to the con, so I know that there's an adapter for a DeWalt battery. So I'm sure there's adapters for most of the tool batteries out there. I've only looked at the ones I've needed to find, so I don't know them all. And another one I've had in the past is I had the Milwaukee one. I still got this somewhere. It actually might be in a tote, but I don't have any more of the M18 batteries. Those, anyway, those I sort of lost in the divorce, sort of, whatever. I had all Ryobi, so I kind of let them go because I didn't care. So in this picture, it's kind of hard to see. You've got that barrel plug in the front. So we're looking at the side of the adapter that's fitting onto the M18 Milwaukee battery. That red dot isn't a button. That's actually a barrel plug that you can use to plug in different Milwaukee things that take a barrel plug that comes off it. That's still going to be 5 volt, or that one could even be 9. Depends on how Milwaukee wires it. At the top of the picture, you can see the bump out that happens on the other side. That's where the flat blade USB-A goes into, right? That fits into the little spot that's just right up here. That's going to give you the 5 volt, And this thing runs a lot longer, right, than, well, it runs just as long as all the other ones as far as I know. This one runs a lot longer than the other one that I've got, which is, they actually make an adapter for the M12 battery. So Milwaukee has these M12 batteries. I just talked about them a little bit before we can. Oh, I've got the wrong camera. There we go. So the M12 battery, this is a 12 volt battery. So this one is specifically 12 volt, 16 watt hours. I just talked about this, but I think that was on the private stream. I've got a bunch of these. I've got like 4 or 5 of these, and I've still got a hold of them because I don't have any tools that they go into. I don't think. I've just got the batteries because I think I got one that came with my hoodie because I actually got like, yeah, of all things, I have an electric a hoodie. An electric. My sweatshirt is battery powered. It has nichrome wire inside of it, so it works like an electric blanket. It was fantastic for wearing out into the snow or when I was editing in my garage in the dead of winter. I could put that thing on and plug it in, and I was very comfortable for a long time. So I think that's where I got my first of these batteries, is with my hoodie. And it came with a thing similar to this where it would just slip over it. This battery's not charged, so it's not gonna light up. And it had this output here, which still doesn't tell me what the output is. 5 volt, I guess. So this barrel plug would plug into the wire that's inside of my electric hoodie in order to turn it on. You just put this on, and you click the power button on the top, and it starts converting, and it warms up the suit. Actually, the one that came with my hoodie didn't have the USB port on the side, so it was exactly the same. It looked the same from this side. It just didn't have the USB portion. This side was smooth as well, so it was a bit easier to pack inside of your sweatshirt. But this will still do the USB to A adapter, right? This will still off the shelf with a small amount. And honestly, I think this is probably the right direction to go for the Proton Packs. Primarily because I've already got a number of the batteries, and that's the main reason. They're a 12 volt battery. The Proton Pack motherboards that I bought said that they can do 8 to 12 volts, so this is the high end of what it can handle, which just means it'll run longer, right? Or at least it should. And it's going to take a bit less mental gymnastics than putting 2 of these in series together. So Ryobi has a small battery that I think is really cool. The built-in USB on the top is actually how you're going to charge it. So this does not require a separate charger. They make them that charge them faster, but it doesn't require it. You can just use your phone charger or anything else that spits out 5 volt, plug it into this. Let's see what we get. The thing here is this spits out 5 volt, and you take the other end and you plug it into the battery, and there we go. And so now it's flashing my yep. I'm now using my battery that I charged to charge my battery, because that makes sense. But that's what we do. These are only rated for 4 volt. Resolution's not what it needs to be there. So right above my thumb, right above advertisement, it says it's a 4 volt, 7.2 watt hour or 2 amp hour, 7.2 watt hour battery. They make a 3 amp hour version that's going to have more watt hour on it. So the idea that was posed to me was, can I run 2 of these in series to run the Proton Packs? Yeah, I should be able to. I would have to make a connector to be able to run all these and have that happen. And I have enough of these batteries that that's not a problem. I don't have as many 3 amp, but I got a load of these 2 amp ones. But this guy, I'm liking. It's a little heavier, but it literally, it's not easy to pull. This black plastic piece comes off, and what you end up with is this triple-sized barrel that's literally probably 3 of these batteries inside of this housing. I really don't see how that would be any different. But I'm guessing this will give me a longer runtime. I don't know. It's just juggling batteries. What do we want to do? So yeah, I don't know what type of... Oh, give me a second. I don't know what type of tool. Sorry about that. I don't know what type of tool that the cooler that Lewis picked up, what type of battery that's in it. So he's potentially asking about something a little more generic, something that's going to operate with something that isn't a known battery type. And what's fun is, I'm trying to answer the last thing I was talking about, and now I'm switching gears slightly. What's fun to me is other companies will make things that are compatible. So this just came out. To me, like it just got my attention. But this is this is not sponsored. It's a SureBonder, and it is a SureBonder hot glue gun. But specifically, instead of SureBonder's been making hot glue guns for a long time, and instead of SureBonder's making their own proprietary, which I'm sure they do, rechargeable hot glue gun, this one's been specifically designed to fit a Ryobi battery, which I thought was really kind of cool, like very cool. So I purchased a couple of these for cosplay repair. The SureBonder guns I like because it's got a multi-fingered pull, and then just they're almost exclusively a hot glue company. And you can literally get a roll of hot glue stick. It's like 10 feet of continuous stick that you can run into the back of your shirt. You can just glue for days. And SureBonder, I believe, also makes a cobweb thrower that hooks up to your air compressor to make hot glue cobwebs all over everything. Pretty sure they make that. But anyway, the fact that I've got so many Ryobi batteries, I really like the fact that I think Cedar pointed this out to me. They're a member of the Cosplay Repair. I think, that there. Because the one thing we're always short of at Cosplay Repair is enough glue guns. I've got like 4, but still, there doesn't seem like there's enough. So, okay, fine. We've now got more hot glue guns for Cosplay Repair. And it was neat that off the shelf for like $28, I could work. It would just work with my Ryobi batteries. Okay. Ramble. Lewis had purchased something that has a random battery in it that has whatever type of connector that battery has. I don't know. I could do some research, but I don't need to have you guys watch me watch a video. So there is yet more ways to be able to pull power off of a tool battery or other rechargeable battery, car battery, motorcycle battery. I've made stuff that works with all these things. Let me close that. Pull up this. China should make a universal adapter. Lewis, they probably do. What you need is a power inverter. What you need is like a step-down converter or a step-up converter. Through some sort of magic, there's a way of changing the voltage of your DC power without much of a problem. There's a way of taking your 18 volt and knocking. In my case, I'm almost always going for 5 volt because I'm going after the LEDs that I purchased. But you can get it to run other things. What are we doing here? Yep, I use a USB adapter to a DeWalt battery to power my scythe when it's on display. Dan Does Junk says. Arc Reactor, thank you. Marvel Guy says, I love the Arc Reactor video. Adelmo, wow, Ritko. Huh. Adelmo, I'm really sorry. I slaughtered your last name. I'm not sure how to read that right now. Stephen Hall's here. Hello. I think I need to go to bed. Been up since yesterday. Yeah, Shady, you probably should go to bed. And have one of those for a portable soldering station. Cool. Trying to catch up a little bit. Hey, you got it. Yes, it was Cedar that talked about it. Yes, I bought 2 Cosplay Cleric. I got 2 of those things because, yeah, it seemed like a great idea. And Dan, I believe the other one they make runs off of DeWalt. So they have one that goes direct to DeWalt, and they have one that goes direct to Ryobi. And if it's not that, then it's Milwaukee and Ryobi, which makes sense because that would be one. If they actually got permission, which do they need to? I don't know. That's only one company they're going to talk to. TTI, that same company owns Milwaukee and Ryobi and Rigid. So all those tools are made by the same parent company. They're just a different price point, a different focus group for who's buying the tools. But I think, I don't know, please correct me, Cosplay Cleric, because I know you might remember that one ran off of Ryobi and the other Surebonder ran off of a different ecosystem of battery. Yeah, Dan says there's a lot of brand compatible tools and batteries. Just be aware of the quality. So read the reviews. Oh, Cosplay Cleric says, yeah, they got one for Milwaukee, they have one for DeWalt, and they have one for Ryobi. After that plugs into Ryobi and the tools Ryobi. And yeah, I know Dan has got a DeWalt adapter to make his DeWalt battery run his Ryobi tools, because he's got more DeWalt batteries than he does Ryobi batteries. He's got this adapter that plugs onto the DeWalt battery so he can plug it into his Ryobi hot glue gun, because we're stuck on hot glue guns. Anyway, there are adapters. In this case, we're talking about China adapters. There's no name third-party adapters as the proper way to talk about them. That can adapt your battery to be able to run other things. One of the biggest things that came along, one of the biggest groups that started this was the guys that would, at least where I first read about it, right? So this is where I attribute its origin from. Power Wheels. You got those Power Wheel kid, Jeeps and the Barbie car and whatever else, the little Power Wheel children's vehicles. Those have been around for a long time, and classically they are powered by golf cart batteries that die in a hurry, and then they are expensive to replace. So a group started modifying the Power Wheels to be able to run off of Makita batteries and off of Ryobi batteries and so forth, because they were pretty easily and directly compatible. So once a need is created, third-party engineering groups start making these off-the-shelf third-party adapters that click onto your battery and just has 2 wire leads that come off of it, which is just positive and negative, and it's just the voltage of the battery spitting out, so you can plug that into whatever you want to plug it into. The example I was bringing up was Power Wheels. What I did with it in one of my videos, that is literally how I powered Mechagodzilla's eyes. So let me pull the wire out. I may have to untape some of this, which has been a bit. It's probably a good plan anyway. Just got to be careful not to yank anything, not unplug anything. Oh, what a mess. I don't take care of my Mechagodzilla. There we go.
Eventually.
Hey, it's almost like Felicia's here. Okay, so this isn't a wire. This was a piece of paracord that I was trying to make the jaw open and close. Didn't work. Had too much friction. So I've got this crazy setup. Is there a way to be able to see this better? Yeah, sure. Let's cut to that. So I've got this crazy setup. What I've got here is my third-party adapter that fits the Ryobi battery. So I can just take this and do that. And I don't need a power switch because the battery is on. The eyes light up. And it's just that simple. And I can pull the battery out and the eyes turn off. That's it. But this is an 18-volt battery. 18-volt battery. And the eyes that I bought are 12-volt truck batteries. It was just easy for me at the time. I went to a store that sold truck parts, and I bought a pair of yellow LED truck lights that actually had 3 LEDs on it. It's blown out on the camera so you can't tell, but in life there's 3 LEDs for each one. And that really matched what I wanted it to look like from what the original movie was. So that was what I wanted to go with. But in order to not overdrive those LEDs and kill them, I needed a converter. And that's all this guy here is a little DC to DC converter. So this can take up to 24 volts in, so anywhere from 15 to 40 volts as an input. I don't know if you guys can read it, but that's what it says. And it just magically outputs 12 volts, 2 amps. That's all it does. And so red to red, black to black, that's your input. They have yellow as an output, so you can tell what the out is easily, and black to black still. I think I was trying to put a switch in at one point. That's why I've got a blade that I just don't utilize. And there may have been a blade on this side, and this is just some sort of nasty confix. That's it. This is what I'm doing to run my the Mechagodzilla eyes. This would totally work for as long as you can get something like this. This will totally work for running a different voltage than what the Icy Breeze cooler comes with. You just need to get yourself a DC converter. And there are all sorts of DC converters. This is literally how almost all the droids that R2 and the D Squad are running their droids. So Chopper and R2 and a lot of those that have rechargeables, they're all just using the Ryobi batteries at this point, or even third-party knockoff Ryobi batteries. There are STL files to be able to 3D print this piece. I actually purchased this from Amazon, but there are actually files to be able to 3D print this adapter. So then you just need to put the wiring inside of it. You know, a couple little metal clips bent, whatever, to make connections to the sides. The battery itself was even marked positive, negative, right? This is something else. I don't know. I haven't really, but I don't know it that well. Yeah, and so that's it, and the lights turn on, and that's it. And the higher capacity Ryobi batteries will run Mechagodzilla's lights for about 26, 28 hours, somewhere in there. And the lower capacity ones, the ones that don't have the silver on them, that they're all just solid gray, they'll run for a good 20 to 24 hours to just power these particular lights. So yeah, I'm an okay fan with this. I don't mind this at all as a method for how to do it, because I like the rechargeable batteries. Let me just try and set this guy up over the side a little bit. Is he still? I turn that off and cut. Yeah, he's kind of peeking in the side. He hasn't been on the show for a long time. There. They also make smaller, like puck converters, similar type thing. But these DC converters, they make smaller ones that can actually go into electronics. I bought ones that are postage stamp size that'll just directly convert 5 volt to 3 volt to run an LED directly, or a string of LEDs, without overdriving the LEDs with 5 volt. LED can usually handle 5 volt, but you're overdriving it and it will burn out faster. So if you convert your 5 volt down to 3 volt to those old just dome LEDs, they're going to last longer, and they'll still be pretty darn bright. And those are easy to get a hold of, but they're just a piece of naked electronic motherboard with a little bit of circuits on it, and you just have to plug one side into the other side, and that converts the power for what you need. It's great. It's literally all you're looking for is a DC converter, and you can convert it from one to the other. As far as, I do not know, Lewis, specifically how the batteries look for the Icy Breeze. I don't know how the batteries charge. I don't know how the batteries connect. So you might need to do some looking into for how to utilize that battery in something else. But if they're a high capacity battery, if they got a higher voltage, if they got a high run rate, one of the things he was asking about was having to run electronics. Like he's trying to rework a Slimer to make it battery powered, and Slimer's got some motion that he does, or at least will when he gets them fixed. I have no doubt that could totally do that. That those batteries would be able to run Slimer for a while, probably all day for a single day. You just need to find or design one of these types of sleeves that clip on over the battery. You know, I don't have this is raw 18 volt. You know, I don't have I forgot to put stink tube over this end. So this is a short concern, but yeah, whatever. So wave it shorting. I can fix that after the stream now that I'm remembering it's there. It's only above my head when I'm sweating. Normally, who cares? It was only about Joker's. Anyway, Joker's wild cosplay wore this once too. And getting the battery connection, it's not trivial. You have to design and make whatever's going to hold the battery. The thing that I'm looking at doing, one of the things that I want to do, and I still want to, even though the Sure Bonders came along, I've got those little Ryobi hot glue guns. I turn around, I'm not seeing one, but it's a little one. I kept calling it the Noisy Cricket hot glue gun, right? It's got a base that takes one of the Ryobi batteries, and the glue gun sets into it. It heats up the glue gun. You pull the glue gun out, and you can use it. And it's very lightweight, and it fits my hand, and it fits everyone else's hand, so it's great. You just set it back in the base, and it warms the glue up again. But at this point, I've got 3 or 4 of those sets where I've got a base with a glue gun. I think I've got 3. I got a base with a glue gun, but the repeated use at Cosplay Repair, because I let the public use them, the prongs that go on the bottom that make connection to the glue gun, right? So not the connection to the battery, that's solid. The prongs that go to the glue gun, they get bent. And they get bent because of a simple design flaw that I don't think the engineers at Ryobi really thought about. The glue gun itself isn't really defective. The way it connects isn't really defective. It is a simple set it in and it starts charging. It is very simple and graceful, right? There's nothing in the base that clicks to the glue gun. So when you got your project in one hand and you pick up the glue gun, you can just pick it up and use it and put it back, and you're not fighting the base, which I appreciate. But that means there's no feedback to the user, especially a newbie user, to know that they've managed to plug it in. You set it down, it's not any different than setting it down on the table. You can't tell that you plugged it in. There's no light on it, so there's no additional power draw. So you can't tell that it's charging, which that's a whole other thought. Maybe we should put a light on it. So if there's any way to have some sort of a slight feedback, trees at one point, all the different... A friend, he's got multiple names he uses on... I know him more what he calls himself in life, but he was suggesting at one point putting a magnet piece on the bottom that could connect to a magnet piece in the charger, so when the two made a connection, there was a little click of some sort so you could feel it, but it still was a simple connect-disconnect, which is a great idea. Maybe putting a little tiny indicator light to show that it's charging or heating when it connects would work well. But what I wanted to do, getting back to the point, I have all these guns. I've got 2 broken bases now. I've only got 1 that works. I think we have 4 because Dan brings his. I would like to make a 3D print and make a new multi-base that holds all the glue guns that I own. Maybe make it so it holds like an additional 4th one for the future. And just power off of one of these. I've got a pair of these batteries that Ryobi originally sent me. This is their big 40 volt they have. I have these to power my shop vac. And also they came with a leaf blower. So I have a leaf blower and a shop vac. And those are the only 2 things I have that runs off this monster battery. That's a 40 volt output. If this guy had a step down to be able to run the those smaller hot glue guns, right? This could set on the table, like in front, and then it just clicks into this 3D printed base that's just here on the side, and all the glue guns, which I don't have one, but you know, they're glue gun shaped. You got a handle and then a tip that drips. So there could be a drip tray that goes over this so it sits down, and it becomes something that could fit on the table about that big and about that wide, and you have a bank of glue guns, and this one battery should be able to run all the glue guns for at least as long as one of the 18-volt batteries runs a single glue gun. I would think. I could be wrong. But I wanted to see if I could do that so I could use the part I really care about, the hot glue gun. But the bases keep breaking. Specifically, it's the little metal tongs inside. I was talking about newbies, don't know how to use it. They go to put it back. It doesn't have any feedback that they put it back onto the base. And so they don't think they did it. So they do it multiple times or smack it to try and get it to click, which it's not going to do. And because of all this, those little prongs inside get bent from just, the abuse. So I would like to not just have a pair of bent wires, which is obviously the cheapest way to make something when you're mass producing it, but maybe have some other like roller connector thing, something that's got a little more going on that would last longer, that can connect to the elements that are on the handle of the hot glue gun to be able to heat up the little mini hot glue gun, and then run it off of this. And honestly, even if I've got the bases, if I only utilize the broken bases that I've got, each one already has a little circuit board inside with a power switch and a light indicator that you turn on to show that that particular glue gun is on, right? It's made as an all-in-wonder thing. I want to turn around like I'm going to have one back here. I'm not going to have one back here. I didn't have one before. I'm still not going to have one. Dang it. So it has a little circuit board inside, so because you can turn your tool on and off. I could cannibalize that same circuit board from all the ones I have that are broken. So I've already got the right amount of power distribution going from the battery to the tool with an on-off switch that could run each one in the bank that I already own. So all I would need to do then is get a DC converter that would change the 40 volt to 18 volt so everything runs happy. That's it, right? So it's a 3D print project with a converter and a little bit of wiring, and then anyway, yeah, I would like to do that. I haven't. I'd like to. And then the other thing, battery-wise, coming up, that's even a bit more involved, that Shop Grumman mentioned in chat. We have an electric wheelchair that Shop Gremlin uses when running around cons. Shop Gremlin is a part-time wheelchair user. Doesn't have the ability to do a lot of walking long-term, right? So all the foot walking that happens at a con or going to the state fair or other big events like that, or even a Costco run, the electric wheelchair is great because it enables them to be able to get around and not be completely wiped out for the rest of the day afterwards. However, this last state fair, the chair that they've had for 3 years now, they went over a bump at the fair, so this is a big crack at the fairgrounds, and it jostled the chair enough that the battery managing unit inside, the BMU, I believe it's called, got jostled enough that it fried itself. Either something came loose and sparked or whatever. Basically, the battery would be able to still take a charge, but it would no longer discharge. And this happened just by hitting, no more than a bump that the end of your driveway has. When you have the little ramps that happen when you have a gutter for the street and the cement ramp that comes down, you have that little lip right in between the gutter and the ramp for the cars to drive up. So it's a lip about that big. Not much, but it was an inch bump, and that was enough to jostle the battery in the chair to kill it. It was just immediate. And while we were there trying to figure out, somebody else came along with one of the rental scooters from the fair in the exact same spot, did the exact same thing to that scooter. So, made us feel a little better that it wasn't just, our shitty chair. It was, this is obviously a problem. Thankfully, Shop Grumman's chair has a pair of batteries. So since the fair, I've been running on a single battery. Just recently went through the whole process of disassembling the one battery that died, taking out the pouch cell batteries. These are the type of batteries that are in laptops and whatnot. They're a pouch. They conform to things, right? So it had, I think, 5 pouch cell batteries on it to give it the amperage and the watt hours, whatever it was that it needed to be. and the BMU, removed all that out of it and replaced it with 21700 dry cell rechargeable lithium ion batteries. These 21700 batteries are a little bit larger than the 18650s, which are the classic vape cell batteries, right? That's what's in this unit, or they're called an 18650 battery. The 21700 is just a little bit bigger. So it's like, this is the C cell battery, the 21 is like the D cell battery. It just holds more power. But they would fit inside the case that needs to go into the wheelchair, right? Because now we have a very specific size of battery we need to fill that can power the wheelchair. Got that all figured out. Shop Grumman figured out how to get the right BMU unit, the battery managing unit, to be able to put back into the battery. Got the two of us tag team wiring that thing up. And we actually had a successful run this past weekend for the first time with the new battery. And what's funny is this new battery should have more runtime because it has a higher capacity charge in it. So it should have more runtime than the pouch cells. And it is noticeably lighter when you're holding them. So the other thing that was really fun and why we did all this is the wheelchair place that makes the Skyhawk wheelchair that Shop Grumman has. They only make a left side, or they only make the wrong side. Maybe it is the right side. Anyway, the way the batteries fit into the chair, there's a handle on the side, so there's a left battery and a right battery. They only make right batteries as a replacement battery. Because realistically, it's going to fit. It doesn't matter. It's just when you go to pull them out, there's a finger hold on the sides, and so you have a left hand and a right hand for those batteries. So if you get a replacement and it's going to be the same mold, then you've got to, and it doesn't matter, but I get it, it does, because it's wrong. And so to get a refurbished one, it's like $400. To buy a brand new battery that was the wrong side, it's like $500. To buy all the tools required, to buy all the batteries required, to buy all the NiCad strips, wires, stink tubing, specialized stink tubing, BMU unit. There's paper wrap that go around the individual cells. To buy all that crap to do almost both the batteries for the wheelchair and to replace batteries for another thing that Shop Grumman's got was like $200. So we are at the edge now. We're at the point to be able to make custom batteries. Actually, I was talking to some of the astromech droids who would like to move the batteries down to the battery box that are at R2's feet. Those big oval boxes at the bottom of R2's feet. Those are usually considered battery boxes by the droid builders. And they're almost always empty because what are you going to do with them? I mean, you can put a golf cart battery in them, I guess, or a security camera battery into them, I guess, if you can find one that fits the dimensions of the R2 unit. But Shop Grumman and I are at a place where we can 3D print and create a specialized battery housing that should be able to fit inside the R2 unit, put in a battery management unit, and have it spit out what it needs to spit out. And the only thing is with the R2s, this is hot swappable. And going back to what I was talking about in the very beginning of the battery rant, this is something you can easily go to Home Depot and pick up more of. If we were to custom make a battery and something goes wrong, we have to custom make a replacement. So there's a trade-off there. All right, units, what's going on? Hey, Lewis, did that answer anything for you at all? Yeah, I'm sure that whatever the batteries you have, they came with the coolers. You could totally use those. You're going to have contacts on the batteries. They'll be similar to this. However the battery is made, where this has got, a positive and a negative. I just said it backwards. This is the positive, this is the negative. And then it has this, which may be a ground or it could be data. I don't know. Ryobi doesn't always talk about what they are. But for most of us tinkering, all we care about is the positive lead and the negative lead. And these two do that. And so if you get a way of connecting these to a DC converter, then all these have it, right? So the other smaller Ryobi one, it's got 4 for whatever, because I think 2 of them run the battery management unit, and the other 2 are actually giving us the power. and these are still molded. So this one's positive. The big one on this side is positive. These are something else. And then on this side's the negative. So that's the way these are ran. And then I grabbed the wrong thing. The Milwaukee one actually didn't so much label which was which. Not that was easy, but it's got multiple points here as well as a blade connection here. And so when I was doing like the Leviathan axe, I literally just took the same type of blade connector, the electronics connector, and just shoved it in there and hot wired it basically. And I figured out that which one was positive and which one was negative and marked it. And no, the battery doesn't care. I guess it is marked on it. I can see a glare. You got a C1 negative and a C3 positive. And then these probably put out other power. I can't read this. Looks like this says 01 positive. Looks like this says 60. And this is ground. That's the ground logo. So that's just ground. Good. I'm glad the battery's got a ground, I guess. Anyway, so there's ways of making, there's ways of forcing these to power what you want them to power. You just got to figure out how you want to go about doing it. How about this guy? What's this guy say? Yeah, that's got it too. Oh, okay. Yeah, this has got a negative marked here and a positive marked there. So I know this is my positive output. This is my negative output. And this says T1 and T2. So these two are probably marked for basically the battery management unit. These are the two things that talk to the charger to let the charger know the health of the battery inside. So that's probably what these two do. That's probably what a lot of those extra bits do, is they're just talking to the charger to help maintain the health of the battery and help maintain the efficiency of getting things charged and going. So your Icy Breeze roller ice chest that you got on discount that has 5 rechargeable batteries. The Bauer batteries or other batteries you get at Harbor Freight Tools on discount that don't connect to any other battery system. Same thing. You should be able to get something that can power those to power the prop or cosplay or thing that you want it to run. Is that good for everyone? Have I way too much on that? So I think Chakram is trying to help out here. Oh, there were 7 cells. Okay. Replacement battery with 500, but the wrong side shell, right? And it was much cheaper. Logistics specialist, 18650s in my Milwaukee, my laptop, my battery bank, 8615s, and everything. Yes, logistics specialist, thank you. The Chuckroman's chair have a trailer hitch for driving stuff into cons and pulling behind a car. Not yet! But we do usually hang a lot of bags off of Chuckroman's chair has, the chair back, because the chair is, there's no way to push it, right? It's not that type of a chair. But it has a bar across the back that that's the top of the seat, and we can Velcro backpacks and bags to. We made Velcro attachments, so we can do that. But I'll be honest, trailer hitch, probably going to happen. What do we got over here? Let's just catch up with this. I have my glue gun in front of me, Odin. Does that help? Yes, Dan, that does a lot. Thank you. Oh, BMS. I keep calling it a BMU. It's a BMS, Battery Management System, I guess. Whatever. That's just what I'm calling it. I could have it wrong. At least something more tactile. Yeah, that'd be nice. We'll be taking notes right now. Oh, I doubt that, Ralph. I have had, very early on, Ryobi asked me my opinion of their hobby tools. And I talked about what they had. And one of the things they asked is what would I want if they, and like the only thing I really talked about that they seemed interested in but didn't follow through on was I was using it before when you tuned in and I was grinding the battery operated rotary tools, for that to have a reverse switch, for it to be able to, because right now they all spin the same way. So when you're working with it, if you're holding it in whatever way that works well for the prop you have, like I was with the Proton Packs, granted some of that was for the camera, it's spitting sparks into my face. I knew that was happy, is why I had, safety glasses on, and it's for the camera. But if that had a reverse switch on it, even though I'm terminally right-handed and I'm holding something in a way to where I can see what I'm working on, I can have it spin the other way and spit the sparks away from me. There's lots of things that do that. I know there's USB-powered e-files, or they're basically nail files. They're effectively the same thing. They just don't have as much torque. But they have a reverse on them, right? So as you're working with the different hands and you get used to how you're working in a certain way, you can reverse the rotation to work on the other hand, and now it's just a mirror of the activity you did the first time in order to make everything easily look the same. And it's just, that's kind of the way my brain works, right? I will, without intending to, mirror image something. So I'm working on something that's right-hand side, and then I got left-hand side, and the wiring is going to be the same because that's what the wiring is. It's just my use makes it left-hand side. But I will wire it up backwards because that's the mirror of what I did to this side. I've made that mistake so many times. Anyway, it would be nice to have had it be reversed. And I don't remember anything else we really talked about. I think they took notes and they were just happy to hear stuff, but I don't remember seeing any big changes from the one meeting I had with Ryobi about things for their tools. Dan, yeah, small bump in my brother's car which killed the sound system. Yep. Okay, trying to run up here, slap chrome hitch on that thing. Yep. Get the Home Depot R2 and do it, says Lewis. Okay, would rather build an astromech droid from scrap. So Lewis Causey is pointing out that right now Home Depot has an R2 unit, and it's literally R2D2. It's a holiday R2D2 unit. I don't think he's overly festive. He's just on a base. He moves a little bit. He makes noise. I believe he is slightly undersized, right? Which makes sense. You want to build something that's going to be affordable, so you scale it down. This is the issue for why I wanted to build props originally. Stuff was the wrong size. So I believe that R2 is scaled down a little bit. And then the effort into making it be, just make one from scratch. Because the plans to do it are so readily available. Both blueprints for R2 as well as 3D print files and everything else. And there's a whole group of people, like there's a whole group of Ghostbusters that know how to build packs and can give you pointers and on what you need to get in order to make the pack works. There's multiple communities of people who are building droids that are happy to let you know what their solution was, what the official solution was, or what just doesn't work when you want to make your R2 astromech droid. So I'm not against the Home Depot droid. I just kind of look at it and go, it's the wrong size. If I got to put the effort into, I mean, I'm not going to scale it up. It's a younger R2. He hasn't grown up yet. I'm not going to, if I'm going to put the effort into trying to modify the R2 unit to do what I want it to do, just make one, right? I guess. Maybe that's the wrong attitude. I didn't, I'm using the Neutrona one, but to my knowledge, that's the right size. So, I didn't get the Spirit one, the original Spirit ones that are like 75% size because affordability, because of the wrong size. Recently, I've seen guys who are very happy to have their Proton Pack and their Spirit wand, and they're as big as me or bigger, and they're wearing it, and they just look, honey, I shrunk the Neutrona one. It's no offense to anybody. That's what you want to do. That's what you have availability to do. That's what you can afford to do. You've done it. That's good. That's not what I want to do. That's all that means. The solder pen happened. Yep. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Alex Stoner. I'm trying to catch up on things here because I've been really running my mouth for a long time. I'm going to have a hard nap when this is all over. For anyone who doesn't know the amount of energy I throw out in trying to do a live stream, I crash every time I'm done with a live stream. The being on camera, the talking constantly, the whatever, it just wipes me out. And Felicia too. We both just end up taking a huge nap after every live stream. She goes home first, but Ghostbuster 2 semi-hero packs run off cordless drill batteries. Yeah, that makes sense, John Hibbard. A lot of stuff did. The old Milwaukee batteries, which I had some. So the first, I think Milwaukee was Milwaukee. Dang it, I said the wrong thing. Makita. The old Makita batteries was the first, I think, battery-operated drill, and those were huge. The batteries were stacked in a series. They weren't put into a smaller brick package. It was a long stick. So the original Makita, I had one. The original Makita battery-operated drill had a latch in the bottom you'd open up. The battery pack would drop out. It was oval, and it was about so tall, and then it also had a step down. So it had like 6 cells in it, right? 4 at the bottom, 2 more at the top, and the whole thing would slide into the handle, and you could click it shut, and that would run. And that's how most of the Makita drill batteries worked in the 90s. And yeah, Hollywood adapted those things in a hot hurry because that was a readily available, rechargeable battery system. You could buy the batteries independently, you could buy the chargers independently, ready to go. And when you're out in the field, something goes wrong, you can go to the hardware store and get replacements. And that's the big thing with all those, and why Ryobi and these others are great to use, as opposed to what I'm talking about Shop Grumman and I doing and building one custom. Something goes wrong, you can go to the hardware store, you can get your thing up and running again. So the Ghostbusters 2 packs, he's telling me, run off of the I'm sure they're the Makita batteries. I could be wrong. Those are the ones that I knew at the time. But I know I've been to, when I was working for Play, I went to trade shows, and they had RC cars that were set up as a camera car, which was really fantastic and new in 98, 99. And they ran off of a bank of 4 of these Makita batteries that went in the back of the car. They were kind of on a raked angle, so they were a little bit lower that way. And they also just gave a good counterbalance off the back of the car for the camera that went in the front, right? And yeah, it ran off of 4 of those Makita batteries. So yeah, I'm not surprised. My intent was always to use one of these to run the Proton Packs, because that should fit inside the cyclotron. But the more that we play with it, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm good with doing something smaller. So this is probably the easy direction for me to go, due to the number that I have, the low demand that I have for these batteries. But, you know, if this works, I'm willing to give that a shot too. What I want to, let's just exactly about Astromix. Let's see. It's at 90% scale. Yep. Oh, he actually was telling me immediately afterwards. I didn't even read that. John Hibbard's been building packs since 99. He's built over 20. Sweet! I've only built 2. And I plan on building probably 0 more. I'm really impressed with you guys that do this. I really am. And I'm really impressed with the guys that figured this stuff out. I love the Replica Prop Forum. I love looking up things and trying to figure stuff out. So thank you, John. I appreciate, even if you didn't directly contribute to the community, still, thank you for being one that's been doing the packs since 99, which that's right around the time when I first had interest in doing it, but I didn't follow through on that interest at that time. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for being part of it, for building packs, for improving how packs worked. I imagine you shared your knowledge over you know, that long of amount of time and building that many packs. You probably didn't hide what you were doing necessarily, even if it was just with your group. That getting that information out there is what all this is all about. And so thank you. I really appreciate that you've done that. Shop Roman wants to make a vacuum form machine to make styrene domes. Yes, because we just saw an Astromech droid at Lodi Con that was vacuum formed. The guy, it was 100% built. Oh, yeah, look, Lewis sent the. That looks a lot like. So I'm heavily distracted by the pictures that Lewis just sent me. Or he sent me a while ago, but I wasn't paying. Come on, Odin, figure out where your buttons are. So this is the. That's Gremlin. These are pictures of how the batteries attach for the cooler. Yeah. I don't think that's Milwaukee specifically, but man, that's close. That's really close to how a Milwaukee battery fits. Um, but yeah, with this, you could take it apart, get some measurements on it. The two blades down here, that's all you need. There's your power. That's your a positive and negative. That's how it's going to connect to whatever the battery cells that this cooler came with. Does it even tell you? It does not. And it looks like there's an extra notch up here. That's probably just because this thing is made as a universal piece that fits more items, and something else that the cooler doesn't do needs that feedback. And this little annoying peg up here, that's just a way of making something proprietary so it doesn't fit with other batteries. So if the Milwaukee battery is really close to working on this and fitting in, you just gotta like get rid of that. Yeah, I would just get rid of that and give it a shot. Because that's I'm gonna fry it. That's just the way that I usually figure things out. Yeah. No, that's really cool. That's a cheap way to get a bunch of batteries. Gonk is made out of totes. I want to make an R5 out of foam and styrene. Correct. I've helped made a Gonk droid before out of totes. I was pulling up the phone to look at the styrene astromech. So this is what we saw at LodiCon. Let me find my pictures. Hopefully I can find the pictures I want. All I gotta do is not be an old man and know how to run my own phone. Pictures of me at Adobe Max. Pictures of me doing silly things. There he is. This guy. This is a fully styrene built, vacuum formed dome R2 unit. This is almost completely plastic. There are parts on this guy that are still metal. He's got a carousel gear on the inside that makes the head spin around, so it's easy for him to, yeah, fun at cons. I was really impressed with how clean everything is cut. Basically, the main gear that goes around the bottom of the dome was a big aluminum cast gear that just made, it takes the load easier, right? It was a big gear. I don't know where the guy got it, but, astromech. Yeah, I'm sure these two are up to no good. That's just not, there's no way that can go anywhere good. Do I have anything else with the R2? And I do not. But, yeah, there's a tote Gonk droid. This is part of the droid builders. The R2 and the D squad. So they got this guy holding the welding tip that's being powered by the Gonk droid. Anyway, so yeah, vacuum forming a styrene dome is totally something that could be done, and that's not impossible. Building a vacuum form machine is not impossible. I would like to do it. There's been multiple things that I'd like to vacuum form. One of them being visors. You can vacuum form PTFE or other lightweight plastics, and then use RIT dye to dye them in order to make smoked visors. You just you do multiple dips to get it down to the shade that you want, or you can go through different colors to get the hue that you want. It works really well from what I've seen. John Hibbert, it all started this ASAP prop board that was 10 of us started all this. Oh, okay. Marvel Guy is trying to ask if you need different battery sizes depending on the size of your projects. No, it just depends on the amount of voltage required for the electronics you're running, or how long you need your electronics to run off of the battery capacity. So this 40-volt battery will run the same 5-volt thing as long as I have the converter in place, but it'll run it for a lot longer than this guy, because it's just the capacity inside the battery. So no, that's not exactly the way that works. Okay. Catching up. I've been babbling away. Fiberglass fibers, yeah. Styrene domes. Yeah, Shockram and I have talked about making an astromech droid for a while now. Would like to make one out of like what the foam and plywood, and then probably vacuum form the dome. Looked at 3D printing parts as well. Not opposed to that. It just depends on what ends up happening. But there's astromechs in our future, that's for sure. Oh, Lewis says, I think I saw a video where Milwaukee does fit it now that I mention it. Oh, that's awesome. If that's the case, then you're easy. Just go get either go get the Milwaukee one that does the step down, or go onto Amazon and find the Milwaukee, like this thing, because they make them. You can get one that runs, that plugs in, and there'll be red, of course, that plugs into the Milwaukee battery that just has a pair of leads coming off of it. And then you can run your converter off of it, and away you go. Advixen says, "What's up? Looking good. Thank you, Advixen. Cast aluminum gear? I can make that." Yes, Ralph. We talked about that. And that project's still happening, too. I haven't touched that for months. I got so many projects I started and forget to finish. I'm really, really good at that. Yeah. Dan says, if I could have, I would have vacuum formed the blade for the beam scythe out of polycarbonate. Yes, and you can vacuum form polycarbonate. That would be great. Yep, okay. More information about droids. One of our ASAP members bought a Ghostbusters assembly hero, and we reverse engineered it, took it completely apart. That's gotcha. So John, you're talking about this all starting the ASAP board. 10 of us that started all this. So John, you were part of some of the guys that started really remaking if I'm reading this right, making all the pack stuff getting out there. That's really cool. That is actually really cool. I looked into going to a casting and molding company that was in Monrovia, California, called Mold Life, and the guy there had a recast of one of the pack shells from Ghostbusters 1 or 2. As these prop guys do, they trade stuff all the time. They have access to something and they trade stuff. But it is gentleman's agreement with these guys that they don't then turn around and resell them. They don't then turn around and let them go in the wild, because it's not hard to figure out who made these casts, right? Because so-and-so works for a company, the thing's out in the wild. Gee, I wonder who cast the thing and let it go. You're not supposed to do that. But what he did do is he let me take lots of pictures of it with measurements off of it. And I was considering using that information to build the packs. Years go by, and at this point, I'm very happy with what I got. You and a lot of other people reverse engineered this stuff. There's Q packs available. There's all the measurements that you've done for your custom packs. Yeah. No, it's great. I love the community that's done this. And what's really fun, and I can't say this about a lot of the other replica building communities, regardless of what group they're in, right? Even some of the military enthusiasts, they're not replicating, what do you call it when they're reenactors? Even some of the military reenactors that I've met, you find groups of guys, people, usually guys, who are, for lack of a better word, dicks. And don't want to share anything, right? They're elitist. I know you guys have run into this too. I've seen them at cons. I've seen them give talks at cons. I've met them in life. And it's just like, oh, that's really cool. How did you do that? How did you solve this problem? Well, that's my secret. I'm not going to share that with you. Huh, you're a dick. So, John, thank you for not being a dick. I mean, the caveat to that is obviously with the prop guys who are in the industry that, well, I can't tell you because I have an NDA. I legally can't. There's an attitude difference between I'm not allowed to because, I'm in danger by doing so because of my livelihood. And I figured it out. I ain't telling you. Yeah, great. Thanks. You're a benefit to our society. Yeah, my health changed, the projects changed. Yeah, that's true. And no, it really is, John. It's really freaking cool. And I'm thank you for joining the stream today. I don't know how many of these ramblings you've been part of in the past, John, but it's really cool that you're here. Thank you. Yeah, logistics. Oh, don't we start on a historical reenactment, guys? I've been working with them for years. But they're still really cool guys. I got to go do a number. I've seen different reenactors in different points with different things that I've done throughout my life. SCA, Civil War, World War II, so on and so forth. There's another one I'm forgetting. But those are the ones I directly remember for groups of people that I've talked to. And especially with World War II and SCA, I ran into those dicks. I ran into the guys that are just, and with the World War II one, we're actually out trying to do a production. We're actually out trying to participate, to get the footage of what these guys are doing, because those reenactors don't have a lot of influx of new people. They're very closed off with what they want to do, so they're closed off to talking to new people. So their little society of reenactors is closed off and dwindling. So we came out to do an episode for Beyond Geek. It's a show on PBS, so you look really hard, you can find it. And in order to participate appropriately, we couldn't dress up the cameras that we had to make them look period, but we dressed up as much as we could to roughly match what was going on. So while we were out in the field with these cameras trying to participate in the battle, one of them was a big battle that we were invited to go to, and then another one that we actually used more footage from was one that we actually set up with people that were more cooperative. And that got us a lot more usable stuff. But still, the big one had vehicles and had big skirmishes and things. Got really good footage from that. There were still guys that were just horrible to talk to. They just wouldn't share anything. But yet, then you get the other guys, like Jurgen. Jurgen was awesome. I'm not sure if Jurgen's still around or not. Jurgen was, sorry guys, Jurgen was East German Special Forces. That was a guy who was a little bit smaller than me that you couldn't hear walk up to you in dried leaf forest. You turn around and Jurgen just says, "You're dead." Jurgen was great. And yeah, he was happy to talk about anything. He would talk about how gear went together. He would talk about how they would doctor what do you call it? You have military grade stuff that's been changed so it's legal to sell to the public. I'm forgetting that term. Not demilitarized, but there's a term for it. Decommissioned. How to rework a decommissioned thing in order to make it functional for a reenactment event. There was a guy that I got to talk to for a different project that talked through how they would take the German MG-34 vehicle-mounted machine gun. This is literally the one that Chewbacca was carrying when they went into the detention cell in the original Star Wars: A New Hope, right? That one that's got all the holes in the barrel that's air-cooled. For Star Wars, there was almost no changes made to the MG-34. Peter Mayhew just carried one of those 30-pound guns, whatever that silly thing weighs. Got a decommissioned MG-34, and this guy did it for us, but also is happy to talk through how inside the firing chamber there is effectively a carburetor with a spark plug from a motorcycle, and then the MG-34s optionally had a bag that could go to a ammo pouch to capture all the shells. So it'd be a way of hiding something coming out the bottom of the gun, because just to make everything fit within the gun didn't work. But what we ended up doing was we had this carburetor with a spark plug in it, and then it had propane and oxygen lines ran into it that went to a pair of tanks that had propane and oxygen. And then you had a distributor cap and a battery in an ammo crate that was tuned improperly for motorcycle, but properly for the firing rate of an MG-34. And all you would do is pull the trigger. It would distribute the gas and propane at whatever mix, and then it would fire the spark plug, at the rate of fire that the gun should have had for historically, and it made this football-sized ball of flame come out the end of it, and it was loud as heck, and the concussion from that thing could knock stuff off the wall on the far side of a big room. You did not fire that thing off inside, but aside from the concussion, it was safe because it had no projectiles. It fired nothing out the end of the barrel but fire, and it was amazing at getting to use this thing for some reenactment footage. And I've seen these. They had these at the one Jurgen was at. And they're vehicle mounted because it's easier to hide all the wires. When the project I was on, it wasn't vehicle mounted, so we just had to get creative. That these it was easy to hide them on the trucks and whatnot, and you could hear them go off for, you know, it felt like miles away. I don't know how far it was, but you could hear it pop, 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 and it was just way far away, and you could easily hear it because of how crazy loud they were. And I know some of my early Burning Man experience. I got to go to Burning Man like 2000 to 2005, or maybe it was 99 to 2005. There used to be a group out there called Death Guild. They're probably still out there. They would literally build a replica of the Thunderdome from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And their entire group aesthetic was Mad Max. They all had the different Mad Max clothing. They made the big Mad Max vehicles. And they had the MG34s and the MG42s and the Browning 50 calibers that had this type of setup on them. So they could drive around Burning Man firing off, you know, blank guns that are as safe as you can get for the way they fire. You know, they're safe as they can be for being a blank firing gun. And yeah, all this stuff was really cool. And it was just neat that that particular guy that we were talking to was just totally, yeah, you do this, you do this, you do this. And then, you know, if we actually had to take it to the island of Crete, which meant I couldn't take propane and oxygen with me on the plane, at least not easily. So we had to find places locally to be able to purchase oxygen, which actually wasn't that hard, and then the propano, which also wasn't that hard, the propane. So you getting all that put together, you know, it was just really fun, and the guy was just so casual and happy to share the knowledge that he has. It was really cool, as opposed to the guys that were just really upset we had cameras out where they wanted to play guns. Those guys were just, come on. I mean, yeah, did we belong? Maybe not. But we weren't going to be out there every time. We came out there once, and everyone there had warning that we were showing up. And they still just wanted to be jerks. Those are the people I don't care for. Never tell my husband about this. I can't afford Burning Man prices. No, Cosplay Care, I can't afford Burning Man prices anymore either. And I know it's changed a lot. It's funny that when I went, you know, it was... Burning Man had the population of SAC Anime, right? But SAC Anime like tops out at 30,000 people, 32,000 people. I think it's been the highest number that's ever attended a SAC Anime, and those are door numbers, right? Those when SAC Anime is counting their attendance, they're counting the individual people who are attending. Some of the cons hide the numbers by counting how many people came in each day. So the person who shows up for all 4 days of the con gets counted 4 times. It's a way of inflating your numbers. Yeah, you had that many attendees all total over the 4 days. You can justify the way you describe it, but it seems shady, but not my friend Shady. Anyway. So, yeah, the last time I went to Burning Man, it was something like that, like 35,000 people all out there in effectively a square mile. It was really cool. It was really fun. I don't think I'm ever going to get to go again, which is fine. I can't really afford to go. I can't really afford to for me and Shock Gremlin to go, because at this point, if I went again, I would want to go and share it with somebody. I would want to go and experience it with somebody else, because every time I went with friends, yet solo. And so something like that and that big, I like to go do with a friend, with somebody that I want to go and share the experience with, that I have a connection with. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. And that's okay. It's taken me a little while to get over it, but I think I have. And there are so many other things that I could spend $5,000 or more doing that isn't sitting in a desert. Oh, my picture-in-picture still? Sorry, guys. Debuild. That's it. Thank you, Moon Eyes. Little Odin, future merch to be determined. It's Little Odin from Picture-in-Picture. Can I still do Picture-in-Picture? There! How's that? Look, it's Odin and it's the side. Little Odin. It's Little Odin. There we are. Something like this. Man. It's not a mirror. Now I'm being Ultraman. All right. At least Burning Man is in the desert that keeps cameras from staying open. Wind blows Lilu Dallas. Wasteland Weekend at Burning Man. That's a group that does the Mad Max. Well, no, Logistics Specialist, you're right. There is a specific group that started doing Wasteland Weekend. And they split off from Burning Man. But in 99 to 2005, there was a group, and I think they went to Wasteland Weekend as well. So I'm talking 26 years ago. There was a group that called themselves Death Guild, and their aesthetic, specifically at Burning Man, was Mad Max. Currently, and it's been around, this Wasteland Weekend's been around for a very long time now as well. Like, that's getting close to 20 years, I think. They specifically do a Mad Max aesthetic. They started out specifically Mad Max, and at this point, they also embrace Fallout as well as however post-apocalyptic wasteland you want to do. It doesn't have to be these specific things. Wow, Bean opened the door and ran out here. What's going on, Bean? But they were very much two different events, and they take place in different areas. Burning Man is out in the Black Rock Desert in Nevada. It's on Bureau of Land Management. It's on National Park land. Wasteland Weekend is actually on private property, which is really cool because that gives them more freedom to do stuff that you can't do out at Burning Man. And you can do a lot out at Burning Man. Dan does junk. No, it was 26 years ago. Don't say that again. Sorry, dude. Just quick math. Hey, Bean. He's gonna run away. He's dressed up like Eevee. So, yeah, no, it was great fun. I've got friends that have done many years of Wasteland Weekend, and what's really fun with Wasteland Weekend, at least with my friend Professor Mojave, because it happens in Southern California, a lot of the guys that actually make the movies go to that one. A lot of the guys go to Burning Man too. But he got into the groups that he's able to talk to the guys that work on films and work on movies, and it's a lot of fun. And that would be something that I would find very entertaining and interesting, is talking to those guys, because that's the circle of people and the circle of information that I enjoy. Nah, it was like 3 years ago, says Ralph. Yeah, I agree. In fact, speaking of getting to talk to guys that are in that type of a thing, just 2 weekends ago, I know he posted about it, but yeah, I didn't for whatever reason. Come on, where's the pictures? There we are. Oh, I don't have the one that he sent me in here, but I got to meet up with Evil Ted almost 2 weeks ago now. And I got to go see Evil Ted's Evil Lair. And so here he is showing off one of his monster eggs. He's into calling these alien eggs monster eggs because he doesn't want anyone to get in trouble with them. And he shared with me the Akira laser cannon that he made, which is really cool because I'm a huge Akira fan. So it was neat that he actually made that. He made one as a giveaway, he said, but he enjoyed it so much early on in the build process. He's like, I'm going to make two because I want one. And I can appreciate that. So now we're back to picture-in-picture. And I was also really impressed. So this is in his Evil Lair. Evil Ted's got a full selection of all the Evil Ted molds from Michaels. Who knew? And what's funny is actually he bought those. He went to Michaels and bought those on discount. He got a set from doing it and endorsing it. But yeah. So no, it's just he actually worked on this some more today. He's making himself a replica head. Do I have anything that's otherwise interesting in here? I like the fact that Evil Ted is an old Ultraman fan, so he's got the pen with the extending antenna for being Ultraman. But yeah, that was great fun getting to hang out with Evil Ted for an evening. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Anyway, that was awesome. And same thing. The best thing about talking with Evil Ted, he's happy to share information. Share whatever he's allowed to share. Obviously, everyone has little agreements with work NDAs, is what they're called. You don't talk about stuff, or you have a big secret like for Christmas or some of the big plans that are coming up, so you don't talk about that stuff because you don't want to. You don't want to spoil the surprise, or you don't want to, you agreed with someone else that you wouldn't talk about whatever this thing is. And that's different from the hate that I have for the gatekeepers that just, no, that's, very different. So Ted was happy to talk about, working in Hollywood and the friends he's got that work in Hollywood, the friends he's got that work as editors in Hollywood. And that was really cool. It was really cool to get to hang out with a guy. Louis Cossey says, this info on batteries has been very informative. Oh, good. I suggest an independent, detailed video. This is something everyone could use. And you're very welcome, Louis, because he's a visual learner way more than with electronics. Honestly, at this point, because one of the pouch batteries has failed on Shop Gremlin's chair, and now we have one that's working with the 21700s, with the lithium-ion battery. They're both lithium-ion, but whatever. The Tesla style. It's the same freaking battery cells that Teslas run off of. Now that we have a battery pack rewired to do that, the other one's going to happen. And we actually talked about it last night that needs to be a video. The rebuild of the secondary battery. Now that we've done it once successfully, know what to do. For this one particular application. That the other two things that we want to replace. One of them was a set of the pouch cells for lithium ion. So the other one for I'm doing this because that's how the batteries fit in the wheelchair. Want to remake the other battery the same way and show how to do that. And then the other thing that we want to remake the batteries for, and this one haven't even ran it yet, but it had a pair of heavy NiCad lead acid, massive batteries that just weighed a ton. Just yank those suckers out and put these rechargeables in there, and they're going to take up less space, way less, and run longer on a charge. So we want to do both those things. And yeah, I actually seriously plan to. So I keep talking about the batteries. This is the one that got fixed. This specifically is the one that we finally got fixed and put together. The spray paint is... and so yeah, this is... We'll probably do this to power our droid more than likely, but there's a good possibility. I've got a ton of Ryobi batteries that may just happen because it's easy. So this is one of the wheelchair batteries, and the fact that it's got this on the side is why hours ago I talked about it being left or right, right? So this slides into the chair, and then you have this finger grip you can grab. So this is probably a left-hand one to easily pull it back out of the chair. And so because it has this notch, it's very much, an asymmetrical design. So the hole would be this way in the other one, but the notch would go up high, so it's easy to grab with the right hand. And then the output is only on one side. It's on the same side as the bump of the notch. So it goes into the chair very specifically this way. This is purely aesthetics. There's nothing that would keep this battery from being able to be put for either the left side or the right side. But it can't, it's just the way it feels for why, and so it's not like they're wrong for only offering one side as a replacement, because realistically the battery will work. It's just annoying, for those of us that care about tiny little details like that. Anyway, this literally is a battery that we completely rebuilt that has all of this type of battery cell in it. And these are a 21700 battery. So you You can't tell because it's on video, but these are larger than the 18650s. There's no way you'll be able to read any of this, but it's a 4900 milliamp hour, 21700 battery, and then fire hazard, not for vape. Never install, carry, or handle. Gonna lick it. All right. There's this green paper ring actually is something that we put on. This is part of building a battery pack and keeping it safe from discharging on itself. And then the whole battery gets wrapped with this type of, it's a green paper. But what we ended up doing is making multiple double sets. So you have a pair of the batteries, and they were, I think they were positive and negative, I think is what they did, because that makes a series. And so they were, or maybe it was like this. Anyway, whichever way is the right way, we did it the right way. I just don't quite remember. Oh, nice. But these two get connected with that little piece of nichrome wire, or not nichrome, that's heating wire, nickel wire that literally gets spot welded. It's a little tool that you can buy to connect these two to make them into a 2-cell pack. And then these, I believe, get flipped, darn it, you know, positive and negative, into a series that fit into this format. So you end up with a 24 volt, 144 watt hour battery, and it does not weigh 4.3 pounds anymore. This, by the way, is a stencil that Shock Grumman put on because the airport was being a pain in the butt with taking the wheelchair onto the airplane. The type of battery, hey, it's me and Little Odin again. These were the pouch cells that originally were in the battery. Let's go back to having this again. So you can see there's the colors. These are 3 different flat batteries, and there's 3 up here, and there's 4 in this one. Can you see that there's 4? Not easily, because there's all sorts of goo and foam in the way. And these are just double sticky tape, so they would fit inside, kind of like that, right? And then this plug would connect to the battery management circuit, BMS unit, whatever it's called. And that's what would charge and discharge the batteries. These battery cells should still be fine, right? These should still be workable cells because they took a charge. It's just the BMS unit died and wouldn't discharge anymore. And that's what started the whole thing with, well, can we just rewire it with better batteries? And we did. The other thing that got brought out here was a, there we are. Yeah, good. It's a vape pack that has 18650s. So we can do that again. Hey, we're back to the close-up camera. So we have an 18650 battery, and we have a 21700. And you can see that they are definitely a larger size battery, just meaning that they're larger capacity. They're still the same voltage, right? They're 3.7 volt. I believe they're still 3.7 volt. It's just, it's 49, aren't they? I think they are. I think they're the same voltage. It's just a longer runtime. And they have the same type of, I have come to learn that these don't have the noticeable bump like the AA, AAAs do. That's just the disposable alkaline batteries. And you can get this style of battery with that bump. But a lot of the ones that get welded and made into a battery pack don't have that bump because it's just added dimension that they don't want to deal with inside of the battery pack when they're making it. So that's not always the case. But same thing. Here's yet something else that would work as, come on, Odin, figure out how to put a battery in. Oh, it's just a magnet. So you got a charger there. Looks like it needs to be charged. But I bet you anything it wouldn't be hard to hotwire this and turn it into a battery pack. But yeah, it was neat putting this together. It was neat figuring this out. Shock Grumman did most of the legwork in figuring it out. I finally sat down and got the final bits soldered together. It is a little bit wider than the old one was because of the foam that I put in there to keep the batteries from rattling around. So it's a snug fit in the chair, but whatever, that's fine. So yeah, I think that needs to be a produced video. And I know I talk about produced videos, and all of you are rolling your eyes going, yeah, right, Odin, You talk about this all the time, and you don't put videos out. I want to put videos out. I do. Yeah, yeah. Those do explode. The logistics specialist saying, as an old vape head, it was kind of a rite of passage to accidentally blow up a 18650 cell. Do not recommend. Almost pooped myself, and that was just a single cell. Yeah, they go up. So Advixen, I did see the Ryobi battery toy. I haven't picked one up yet, so I don't know anything else about it. Lead acid batteries get you a bit of cash if you bring them to metal recycling or scrapyard. That's good to know. Lewis says apparently they're making sodium ion batteries to replace lithium. Lithium mining does destroy the land. Sodium is abundant. That's good to hear. And I know that in Southern California around... Man, I've been down there so many times. I'm forgetting what it's called. There's the Salton Sea. Is that what it is? Salton Sea. There's a sea in Southern California that's landlocked. That's evaporating and is highly has a high salt. Anyway, they found there's lithium down there, and so now there's all this. How do we mine the lithium that's in California, in an area that has no good income because they used to be a resort destination in the 60s, but agriculture and everything else killed the water coming in, and so now you got all these dead resorts, and they're excited about the potential of having lithium mining down in that area to bring money into that county. Now I'm imagining a vape rig running off an 8 amp hour Ryobi battery. Oh, that'd be great. Those things are huge, though. This one's a 2 amp hour battery. The 8 amp hour batteries are they make a 12 amp hour battery that weigh as much as a car. It doesn't, but it feels like it. Yeah, Shock Roman says spot welding 14 of those cells was not trivial. Looking forward to it. This lipo blows up. Do I still have the Kratos axe? Yes, Sindareth, I do. I actually need to repair it. Because I only ever hot-wired the connection, because I just forced it into working. Years later, it still works, just not as well as I want it to. At this point, I know I could do better. But no, I do still have it. I just need to get the blade connector to work again. That's all. Oh, and how do I send you email? I got a ton of pictures and info on building the packs. Oh, John, that'd be awesome. Yeah, OdinMakes.com or OdinMakes.com. John, that'd be fantastic. You would be a person I would love to talk to. Lewis says, I doubt Cali will do any mining in the future. Y'all's regulations are ridiculous. You're not wrong. But, money. So it'll probably happen. But, yeah. Whatever. If the sodium batteries take off and become easy to produce, that may that could take over, and I'm okay with it. I don't have any kind of weird preference on that, right? I just want a reliable battery that'll recharge when I want it to recharge. That doesn't need to recharge every 15 minutes. You want to make it out of salt? Fine. Nick Tilbury says, this is live still? Yeah, this is still live, Nick, for a few more minutes. My plan is to go live every other Sunday. I was doing that as a way of keeping the channel going because going back to I haven't put videos out. This week, I barely worked in the pack, and I've just been ranting and raving for 2 hours. I know some of my Discord members actually prefer my wacky story live streams to me actually getting something done because it's something they can listen to in the background, which is kind of cool. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. But yeah, this is still live and it will be for a few more minutes and then I'll come back hopefully in 2 weeks. I'll need to look at the calendar, but I think 2 weeks is still a good amount of time for me to come back and I'll keep doing that for a little while. Museum Dave says, "Oh wow, holy cow! Hello, Museum Dave." Oh, ridiculous vape. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So they're talking to each other. That's cool. Logistics specialist says, "Dave, there's a vape shop guy who made a huge box mod that ran off of 12 26 650s. It lasted most of a week. Downside, it was the size of a small cereal box and weighed a few pounds." Yeah, I bet. So was that a typo? 26? No, because it's 18 650s, so 26 650s. Yeah, these batteries get to be crazy in size. So 26 650s. Okay. Me currently not drawing on my iPad with you in the background. Thank you, cosplay cleric. Yeah. Yeah, so what am I doing? I got batteries. I got batteries for days. I got projects that I want to do. I got projects that require batteries that I want to do. I mean, this alone would be a workable thing if we wanted to, because we could probably put a BMS unit just on this and have that run, my recharge station. And it just needs to recharge off of, which may not be a bad idea either. It just needs to recharge off of the same charger that Chakram would use to recharge their chair, because the batteries should be fine. We don't know. It was just easier to go with something else. And it's just really funny that this, with the plastic housing and everything else in it, weighs less than these two things all by themselves. Yeah. I'm running out of steam. But hey, I'm down to the last 10 minutes. So my apologies. I'm not going to be painting the packs. I don't want to break it out now. Yes. Dan does. Dan does junk is saying, "I can't wait to see everybody again in January." For those of you who are in the Northern California area, if you want to run into and be able to talk to me in person, or Dan, or Cosplay Cleric, or Shop Gremlin, or Logistics Specialist, all these people that are currently in chat, all of us are going to be at SAC Anime Winter, which is going to be the very first weekend of next year. It'll be the very first weekend of 2026, happening in Sacramento, California. It's a 3-day convention, and we all run the cosplay repair booth. It is the Odin Makes booth, but these people help make it go, right? Having multiple people there with multiple quality, vetted skills in different things is fantastic. And the amount of stuff that we get to help other cosplayers there. Basically, we're not dicks. We tell them how to, well, this is how I would do it. It's usually the way it is. It's never this, "Oh, you're an idiot. You need to do it this way." It's like, "Oh, that's interesting. Well, I would do it this way," is usually the approach we try to take, because this is all learning and all sharing. And the people that come up that need help aren't there to test us. They're there because they need help. So it's a lot of fun. It really is, getting to run cosplay repair, and I'm really grateful for my friends that come out on their own dime to come out to this con and spend time out there. So thank all of you for that. Yeah, and that's coming up in September, in January. Then again, in September is SAC Anime Summer. Happens in the same place right here in Sacramento. It's the bigger convention because it's warmer, more people show up. And get to do the same thing. We've been doing this for years now, and it's been great. It's a lot of fun. And it's this weird, for those of us that like to build, that get to be part of the cosplay repair, it's this weird triage. How do I fix this problem, right? It's like an ADHD dream. Here comes this new puzzle. How do I fix this problem? Oh, we can do this. Oh, look, it works. And off they go happy. And it's great. And sometimes we get it wrong, and they come back and say, "Dude, you messed it up. It was wrong." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Dan, how would you fix this?" And we try a different route, because we don't always get it right. And even when we don't get it right, people are still happy, which is the whole point. We were invited to be there by the con to be this cosplay repair thing, to help make the con experience better for their guests, right? The fact that I get to set up a booth and show off Mechagodzilla is a plus. That's not why I'm there. Not anymore. I think it started out, that's why I was there, and I did this, and the importance has totally switched. Which is great. I don't mind that at all. And yeah, so any of you who have attended and are watching, and that we've helped in the past, Thank you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for trusting us. I hope whatever we did got you through the weekend. Generally, that's all we're really trying to do, is to get you to get through the weekend so then you can get back home and fix it for reals. But sometimes what we do is for reals. A lot of the times, Shock Roman is breaking out the soldering kit and fixing something that's needs to be legitimately fixed. I mean, half the time we're fixing droids from the droid depot. That's a builder. From the R2 and the D squad that are next door. Because, something goes wrong with the droids. Because something goes wrong with droids all the time. It's great fun. It's mostly shoes. You see Dave, cosplay cleric. No, don't believe what Odin's saying. It's lies. What are we fixing? We're fixing shoes. Not wrong. The amount of inexpensive cosplay shoes or older thrift store shoes that people come up to us because they were either not designed for that amount of walking or are so old and brittle they don't like doing that amount of walking. The amount of soles that we've had to glue or stick back onto costume shoes, it literally becomes a joke. We start, taking a tally. I think, it doesn't sound that many, but I think 30 has been one of our records for cosplay repair over a 3-day weekend to repair 30 pairs of shoes. I think. I'm happy, cosplay cleric, to be corrected on that if you know of a better number. To the point that I probably should make a tally board that actually just hangs on one of the walls behind us so we can keep track of how many shoes we've repaired on how many days. There's a little, tick number, right? It's like a little chalkboard or white erase board or something. Because, yeah, it's a thing. There's a lot of shoes that come through. It's split seams that need to get sewn. It's wigs that need to get styled. And it's shoes that need to be fixed. And those are the primary things that we seem to do. Or it's some other piece of a specialized prop where the hot glue has failed. That's like a lot of it. A lot of the smaller cons I go to that are still immediately in the area, at this point, I still have to bring stuff because people know, Odin Makes can fix it, right? I literally have, I love this. I go to Carson City to go to Kaboom Con, and I bring stuff because I'm gonna. And one of the other guys that was there isn't even a cosplayer. No, this Dave who was there, he was the guy that was the Weequay alien in the reshoot for Return of the Jedi. So he's in the movie. He's the drummer in the new shots for Jabba's palace in the movie. He has a problem with his drum, and he looks at his partner that was there with him and says, "Go talk to Odin. He'll have a pair of needle-nose pliers." Yes, I did. Which Dave is awesome. He's a great guy to talk to. And he's a very talented drummer too. But yeah, so yeah. Yeah. Ed Vixen says, when it hits over 30, then start making the cosplay shoe. What a better for a template. Yeah, I struggled with fixing a scythe and a blade made of clay. There is a red and black scythe that I do not know what anime it's from. I don't remember, but it's got an eyeball on it, and it's a red and black scythe with a Charlie Brown zigzag pattern on it, right? Or tiger teeth or something on it. We see a lot of them. It is a popular anime. There's a lot of this scythe that comes through. I do not mean to be dismissive to the anime. I haven't watched it. It hasn't caught my eye. I'm not familiar with it. That's all that means. I'm just not familiar with it. But we see a lot of these scythes comes through that are made out of cardboard, that are made out of clay, that they make them out of foam, but they're hot glued together. And a scythe, you have a stick on one end and all this weight out here that as you walk bounces, so the seam breaks constantly. In fact, one of the things that it was one of these scythes with one of the first years that Shock Gremlin went to be part of Cosplay Repair. This is immediately after we all got to go to Silicon. So this was 22, right? Yeah, Silicon 2022. We got to go, I think it was that. Anyway, I got con crud at Silicon. I got over it. Shock Gremlin picked up the con crud from me. Sick as a dog, barely able to move in the back of the booth. Myself and Treg the Viking had timers set to remind Shock Gremlin to take, whether it was NyQuil or DayQuil or Advil or anything else that ends with an ill, to help the ill effects. Reminding. Anyway, Jerry is trying to fix one of these scythes that keeps falling, and he's literally there with, the Ryobi staple gun trying to put it back together, and it was like waking up the gimp, It's like, yeah, wake up Shock Gremlin. Hey, how are we going to fix this? Like this, staple it here. And because Jerry was just loading it up with hot glue and then trying to staple a strap to it, and nothing was working. And Shock Gremlin says, no, staple it here because it'll suck the blade in. And chunk, and that's exactly what it did. And it fixed it exactly the way they said it would fix. Impressed Jerry to no end, and he's still impressed with Shock Gremlin. And that was one of those scythes. Which, side note, that whole, just recently found out, like a couple months ago, that particular strain of con crud, right? The one that I got, the one that hit Shock Gremlin so hard, William Shatner was patient zero. He was the one that showed up to Silicon sick, that got the staff sick, that got the people sick, that got me sick, that got the guests sick, that ultimately got me sick. That strain of really nasty con crud was space con crud from the Captain of the Enterprise. So, I never got an autograph from William Shatner, but I guess I got his sickness. So, thank you. Oh, it's so nice knowing people that run cons and multiple cons and the stupid things they can share. So you guys got shat on. Yes! The scythes need a fiberglass rod in the center. That could help a lot. The cough of con. Kirk did it get around. It's space STDs. Yes, it is. The thing is, one of the fun things with cosplay repair, because I hear Lewis saying that they need fiberglass rods inside of a scythe. Yeah, you and I, Lewis, and a lot of us viewing, so many things that we would know on how to go about building a scythe. I mean, Dan's even built one that's translucent that lights up green. So many different ways that we know how to build it and get it to work. But at Cosplay Repair, you get the enthusiastic, brand new cosplayer that tore apart cardboard, glued it together, painted it up, and they're going. And that's the group you really want to encourage to keep going. That's the group that's going to keep this hobby, this community alive. They're the ones that'll figure out the new materials. And if they're presented with an old guard who wants to share what they're doing and wants to encourage them to keep doing it, they in turn will probably keep doing that as well. And that's what I really wanted to do. And that's why I'm so mad at the dicks that are at World War II. Anyway, I think it's a great place to end. Everyone, I want to thank you very much for tuning in and listening to me rant for 2 hours. I'm going to be at SAC Anime, and I think that's the next event that I'm going to be at. I'm actually in talks with a high school group to do a talk here in Sacramento, CSSC or something like that. It'll be happening in February. I'll talk about it more when things get nailed down. But right now, it's something I did back in like 2019. And then, of course, something happened in 2020 and it never happened again. But now they're trying to bring this... It's made for students who want to do video, and it's very much centered around the Sacramento School District. And they want me to come back as a guest speaker again, which is like, heck yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun. So that's going to be happening in February. I'll get you guys more information. Not that I think any of you will be able to make that, but maybe. But I'm pretty sure I don't have any other cons that I'm planning on going to between now and SAC Anime Winter. But then the whole circuit's going to start all over again. And I'll be going to a lot of cons again next year because I love going. It's a lot of fun because I get to see people like you. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back. It is the 2nd. And it's aged over 26 years. Thanks, John. Dan, embrace the hatred. Make it a 2nd. Lewis says, I always tell cons they need more maker instructors, demonstrators. SAC Anime has talked to me twice now for over a year about doing that. I did one at that other one. It's lunchtime. KaboomCon. Got the badge over here still. I did a demo at KaboomCon. It actually went over really well. So probably end up doing more of that. Peter Martin's here from Australia. Good morning, Peter. Just wondering if you're going to do any new builds happening. Yeah, I want to. I've got something that I need to get done because my friend Joe Gillis has dropped his new Kickstarter for the 2nd season of his Post-Apocalyptic Joe. So I need to get the video finished for the Post-Apocalyptic Joe nuclear videotape so I can help promote his Kickstarter. But yeah, you know, if you guys are interested, I know Shady's excited because he got to help be a character in season 2. Joe's calling these by seasons, so he's got a book series coming up. That'll be a book on tape coming up, and his Kickstarter's live right now. It's been out for a week, so I need to get that going. Museum Day, thank you. You've been inspiration, thank you. Yeah. Cosplay Cleric says, I'd say a good 50 to 75% of the people that hit costume repair are first-time casual cosplayers. Yeah, I think I agree. And what's really cool, guys, with Cosplay Cleric, they've been cosplay repair at other cons I've never been to. So here's somebody who's been doing it, who's got experience doing it, outside of my little space of doing it, and they've decided to come and join us, which is really cool. So, you know, yeah, thank you. And you probably run into the same numbers at the other cons that you go to. So, no, hey! Oh, deadlines are good people for the best motivation. Not entirely. I've had a deadline for a big cosplay that I said I would do, and that movie's come and gone and is out on streaming, and I still haven't made the cosplay. So, in fact, I got asked to make it before the movie was announced. That's how long it's been. I'm really good at ignoring deadlines. Got called out. I'm not trying to call you out and make you anything bad, Cosplay Cleric. This is me sharing the love. This is me giving you authority and props. You know, the fact that you've got this experience that not everyone does. It's great. Yeah. So anyway, I've said it a couple times. It's a little bit after 2:00. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Don't know if Felicia will make it in 2 weeks or not. If she can, she'll be here. Talk to you all again real soon. Thank you all very much for tuning in. John, I'm looking forward to seeing your pictures. Let's do the end stream button. There's the end stream button. Okay, bye guys.